Oi Faaumu me ke loa matai na tā Lonoa tama ke tai kāna Me ka tawa moi ratu hei lala Hei sai Hapakapo Amasi mono kulato Ka leo ngoi E me tō Na mauna ki he kai poano Na e toko E tu pao hapai ki alunga Ke malu i alunga A tonga ia whai wa tuputupua
Ia. Malo mai lau maria aho eiki. Vehe whoki he tonga kotoa pēr mo mea mai ki he polo kalama ko ia I he efi afi pule lulu kotoa pē o e weke taktaha o ku mau whakahoko a tai polo kalama ko ia a National Tongan Women's Leadership pēr me he radio Voice of the South Pacific me Seattle, Washington. O ku mau whiwhia ke tari lelei a ki mō tōru kotoa pē I hi whiwhini. E whiwhpule lulu eni a hua fitu o Sanuari o e wāwhi mā wataha. Pea o ku mau whiwhia I he whiwhkoini o kai ke uha o ku ki I tā wafu pēa tū a ka mā whana lelei pē ea o kai ke whumomoko. Ko au Brenda Kongaika, ko mau hoa ngā weni o ku mau whakatutu at pehe ki turiki ko ni me o mau stereo ai ko hoku tohema o ke ai neta tua tāpea lava. Pea hoko mai ke ai ko Sela Si'i te ulilo kātoa peki mātou me Seattle, Washington. Ko iai mau whiwhia ke tā lelei ki mōtoro ho mō mea mahe whiawhini polo kalama lelei au pito o mau whakatutu e whiawhini. Kai kehe te tau kamata ake pē ha tau lotu. Pea koe ne lava lelei pē ai lotu koe ni pa te tau toke hoko atu I he whakatutu ko ia o polo kalama ki he whiawhi pule lulu koe ni. Aia koe tau lotu e whakahoko atu ia e he whiwhini o gune o mai e whainga maari e ke tau whanongo ki hangahi message pe ko hangahi e ki naki whakalotu o watia e whinau matakairongo. Whinau ko whinau taimi matakairongo. Pea o mau whiwhia ke tari le reia whinau. Whinau malo au pito si I lava mai pia whini?
Malo e tau lava Brenda.
Io. Koe taimi ni te tau hoko atu lewa ki he o whasi uraki pa te ke. Koe ne lava le rei pe ia pa toki te ke hoko atu ai pe ko ia. We'll fade it down and then you come on. Ka mata tau porokarama he whiawhini. Malo au pito Yeah.
Go ahead.
Mukatak whamore pe I koe ki I slow down wha teknikare pe. Momentarily we will start our lotu in the beginning of this National Tongan Women in Leadership program, which is on every Wednesday evening.
ha ahokui Ikai tuha mo taua mo uini Manoku moa e fili Pea ikai hatoi amanaki
Whakawheta I eiki hoi Whakawhanua waki ai iwi Moe malohi Ke upu'u o talaki Ai popo aki Moe opa kua ke whai ki e mo uiwi
Malo a pito ko to matuku pe e whakatapo ke tamai whahewani pia ka malo ki ai ko hi ko tapuaki o mo ui kune ke whainasa ki tau tolu o lawa ke tau wheongo aki ai i he whiawhikoni ka malo toki a Brenda ve mo ne timi ngā awe i e whainga maari ke lawa ke tau wahe ai pia me he wholofola ai e ki he whiawhikoni Ko whakaukau ko ia o ko haam ke to'o mai ma ki tau tolu he whiawhikoini o pehe hono whakarea ko e tala ofa te ko e whakapapau I mai ka ki tau tolu whekau aki pia mo e pirinisi o Emelino. Ki mua peke hoko atu ka takpe te u whai pe lotu te auto hoko atu. E tamayanga lelei ma u whawheta I kia te koe I e whiawhikoini ko whainga maari ko tape ke lawai ke mautala noa ke ofa lahi pia mo ofa hulu mo loloto mo maolunga ai ofa e afiona ka mau whakate I peho lau maari e manioni ke hifo mai o tataki ki mautolu I e wholofola ko amana ke mauwahewahe e whiawhikoini pia ke te whato mai ka ki mautolu o ofa pia mo o hango whekau I mai aho alo ke hifo mai ke mamani koini ko pininisi o Emelino e ka mau wha malo atua I kia te koe mau kore pe eki to kone mai he takin ko e wholofola te mau wahewahe ki ke tataki pe e lau maarie whawhono aki mautolu haloto ku poto haloto ku whaka ata ke hu mai a lau maarie a fiona tataki mautolu ko mau lotuia I wafa kalaisko aloka ko mau whamoi Amen.
Amen.
O to o whakakaukau ko ni me tohi ko ia Isaia wahe hiwa pe mone hono nima aia o pehe hono whakarea. He ko whanau I kia te ki tau tolu ai tamasii. Ku fuaki kia te ki tau tolu ai poha. Pe I hono uma ai pure. Pe e ui hono hua wha ko whakaofo. O ako naki ko o tua masi. Ko tamai tai ngata ko eiki o Emelino. O koe ai ki whakakaukau o pehe tānoa na e seinga ai taha I kau toke tā I loa ko I Amerikani ke ne hanga o wakai I pa ne hanga siofi ai fuafua pomu a atomi ko ia na I ngauhi. Ko hipe ke ko seinga ai pure anga I hafonga ke lava ke pakapapau I oku malu ai fonuani te aku nau fie mao ke nofo melino. Te ako taini koia na e whaia I hono wakai I na e whaia e whakataha e kau senatoa mo I kau whakapoponga I pure anga Amerika. Tana e whailewa e pehu iange ki e toko taha koini. O kuiai nai ha malu anga I e mea tauni te ko foi pomu a tomi koini nai oso no ngaui. Te ako tari koini a toke taha koini ko ne tarien pau pe mahino. Paka whakaukau rewa, ko hana nai nei tari pehe ai. Ko whakaukau whoki moianga I whokotu koini, ai kau tangata koini I he ngahi pure anga, ko nau whauha whaahinga pomu pe ko whahinga me atau, ke ne lava eia o solova, angahi mea o kuhoko, ko hike maua ia merino. Ka ko whakaukau e whiawhini, ko tala ofa e nia, pia meihe o tua, whakahoko mai e he ene palofita ko ia, ko Isaia. Koe tuunga koe na ai ko ia e pureanga Israeli. Na e osi pea tu i Solomone, pea mo vete leva e pureanga Israeli o mawaiua, o pure i leva o suta e tawhaketaha, aia koe matakari e ua, pea matakari leva e hongo fulu aia na e ui ko pureanga Israeli. Kana ia upeke tuunga, na e hau leva silia ia pa mo Israeli, o whakamana mana i a suta. Pea koe tui, i taimi ko ia koe tui, na e ui ono ingoa ko ahas. Na mana wahe le vaia, pe alu le vaia, o sanga pe e o tua o tala, ke Isaia ke alo tala ke tu i koini o suta. O e mana wahe ia ke kinau tolu. Ko ia ia tene whai e tau. Ka ko taimi lahi, na e whainga pe e tu ia koini ke whai ake ene whaunga. Ka nai alu a kumitokoni, Tera pau nera na e hoko atu e tau lau e talanoa ko ni. Wahe ono tai na e uia e o tua e palofita ko Isaia na ne o angere wa visoni ki ai. Ke ne wakai le vaia, na e wakai le wa Isaia e taloni o tua. Pane whakatoka nga i le wa e ia. Tene rea ake rea ko ni oku maa oni oni. Oku maa oni oni, oku maa oni oni. Pero taini pe na hanga e o tua uia Isaia. Na ne hanga rewa Isaia o whakatoka ngai. I e taimi na ne wakai e ke taloni o tua e ne toku tapu. A e ne ta e tau. A e ne ta e se unga. Te hanga rewa he o tua whakataia. Ke ne wakai ki hono taloni. Ka mohono nge ia. Ka mohono langi mohono maulunga. Pana ne mau rewa e Isaia haloto toa. Pana ne hanga rewa tari rewa. Ko taimi na e uiai e he o tua. Na ne talange rewa e Isaia ke o tua. E kau iau. O au eni se kau iau. Aia kuhaia i he wahe ono o tuhe Isaia. Pea hoko mai tu whakaholo mai ai. Ai pure anga koni o suta. Kana i ke hanga pe e o tua o tala ka kinau tolu. Ai mea e whai. Pea i he wahe walu pe o tohi Isaia. Na e a uai e pure anga suta ke atu unga. Na tala mai pe he na e whaka au te koviangi. Na koe hoko mai e tu i koe ni pa pepe whamatala ke mo uia e tu i koe ni. Koe kawen he tu i mao lalo taha o suta. A tu i eha. Koe uhipe he nani hanga whaka ata e ngahi lotu ai tori. Nani whaka ata e ia a ngahi mea ke whai o whihanga hanga ia. Pea moi folofola. Pea moi mea ko tala ka kinau toli he otua. Kai e taimi ta tau pe o tau sio rewa ki e ofa. Turi mai ai ofa e otua. Nane kei whikau i mai pe e ne palofita. Ke tala ka kinau tolu. Owa te mou mana wahe mou tolu. Ko au ia. Ko mou kau pe moau. Ko mou falala mai pe kia te au. Ko au ia. E taimi lahi. E tau sio ke ngai mea koko e mamani ko ni. Pe hange au tau tete. Ka tau whaka kau pe whenga rewa tangata i ene whaunga ke solova. Kai whakawheta i e wahi i wape. Hanga rewa he o tua o whakahaa mai ai. E hoko mai ai pirinisi o e merino. Koe mai seitu o e po uri e mama. Koe whengai seitu o koe o kumate e mo ui. Nemo pe ko hae ngahi tu unga e mamani ko ni pe tau sio pe ke fonuani. O ko hange o whakairi fia, a ngai mea kotoa o tau whanongo ki ai ngahi New Sea. Ngai mea kotoa o tau whanongo ki ai o nauhanga whakamatala mai. Kai whakawhetai o stala ofa mai e otua. E iai e pirinisio e merino. Ko taimi ko e na e hoko mai ai a kalaisi, tala mai le waheni. Ko mea kotoa pena e whai e kalaisi. Ko e tau muape e whakamo ui ai whahinga o e tangata. Ko merino mo o ni peia. Hei kai ke koe lava e ki tau toruia i a pounga e tangata ke tau mau ai meri. Kai o lewa pe ko tau mau mo oni. Ai, kuasa ko e ni pe ko kalaisi he tau mo ui. E tala mai ko no hua ko whakaoko. Ko ako naki. Ko o tua masi, ko tamai ta e ngata, ko eiki o merino. E tohi pe ko ia, ai wahi fitu, ta mo veus ta wha, o tala mai ai, mai oski ki pe pe o stala o whakakina tolu, a Emanuela. Koe uhinga lea Emanuela, koe otua ia te tau tolu. Ka pau lewa te tau maua e otua ia te tau tolu. Ko hanea te tau tolu mana wahe. Ia ni te tau mana wahe ki e tangata. Te tau mana wahe ki ngai whakairifia, ko os whakapapau mei hen. Hei kai te toi lava e ha mea ia e he mamani ko ni, o kuhanga e he tangata o wheinga ke whakamerino a. Ko kalais toko tahate. Ie ne hoko mai ke mamani ko ni, te ne lava o whakamerino ai mea kotoape. Kai whakapalala pe, ie tahanga whakaataho taloto ke hoko mai a kalais. Ka paurewa, o ta fie mao mo oni, ai nonga pe mo fie maharie mo oni. Ko kalais pe o kiaia merino mo oni. Ko kalais pe o kiaia fie maharie mo oni. Ko kalais pe o kupau. Na iai hati talanoa, na pehe na velai hafare i New York. Tena iai hati tahine kui i o lunga sunga waka hono wha. Na ne tete pa ne mana wahe, pa na se inga kau tamate a fite kahau. Na na ui hake, pa na se inga ke watu hake tu unga ke whakahifo ai e ki tahine koni. Ka na ikai pe ke whalala ki tahine koni ka ki nauto. Ka ini pe ma na se inga i pe a umai ene tamai, na lea hake reo na ene tamai. Ka na uhangarewa ai e kupena, ka ne lea hake reo ki tahine, ono hingoa pa ne tani. Puna hifo. Ko awen, ko ne tamai en. Tala mai, nai puna hifo ki tahine ko ni ko funga waka i he wha. Nai osan ko ia hala atake lavea, na ne ma upe a fie maharia mo ilo pau, ko re oeni e tamai. Na a feo hi moia, na ku ilo pau e tamai, pea ko whalala kakato. Ko whakau e te afine. Ko hai o ta firi, ke ta whalala ki ai. Ko hai o ta whakakau te ta mao me ai ai merino mo oni. Ko whakaasa ia ka mo whakakau o mai ka ki tau tō. Ka ta fie mao ai merino i aki, i ngawe anga, i pure anga, i society, i ngai ātakai o tau iai e kiasi. Ko tau mao pe ai eiki ko sisu kalaisi. Ko o stala au whamai. Ko hifo mai ai eiko e merino, pea ko ia pe tene o atu ai nonga pea mo sie marie, pea mo merino e mo ui ko ni neongo. Ai ho haa tu u ai mamani ko ni. Ka ta whiri mua ko whakakore kore ia, pea mo pore ka ki tau tole he teas ko ni. Tau whiri a kalaiski e tau mo ui ka tau mau, ai merino, ai sie marie, o kui kai mau ia e mamani ko ni. Amen. Mai taki peka mai tau hiwa tuku malo.
Malo. Malo a bit finau.
Amen. Tolo. E tua mafi. Ko hua whako whākai ki hoa. Ela. Te loha hai hua whai awhiona. Ko hua wha o ku maa o lunga kaha ke ia. Ko hua wha ku tau kakata whao. Ka mau whakawhetai. I mau ilo pau. Ne ongo hono masani o loto hewani. Pe moho o maa o lunga. Ka nā ke hifo mai ki he mamani ko ni o ai e tatau o e tangata. Ko nā ke hoko. Ai wā ko ia ne mau he ngā ue ai angahara. I ngā hi whiri pe aki mau tolu. Moi mau whakakaukau pe aki mau tolu e takai. Mau wha maalo he koe otua ko ofa. Te ko ofa o taeri liu. O ku ke whai totonu, i e taimi ko toape. O ku ke tatau pe mea nia, a honi, te a ki pihea i pe o taimata. Mau wha maalo ki he tala ofa o i pihinisi o merino. Te neongo e mau sio ke ngai mea au ni whakapukutu o e mau whakakaukau. Tuku ma eiki ke mau whai hatupa. Ke mau hanga tu te koe he kokoe pe tota. O kuiaia sie maari e mooni. O kuiaia nonga mooni. O kuiaia melino. Aia o kuikai malava he mamani koni. Ia toe mea ke ne o mai e merino ke te mauto. Mau wha mahalo ke te koe o ofa. Mau lotua pe tamai. Ai ngai polo kalama ko toate o whai e laine. Ke koe le tio koe ni. Mau kore pe whakaivia. Aho kaunanga. Renta pa te kalatu. O toe ngai kaungau e kotoa. I e le tio koe ni. Tuke hoko pe mua. Kai ngai to o whatongia kotoa. Koe tāpua ki ke kau whanongo. Kai mahulu hake eiki. Ai hiki hake. Ho hua wha. Ke nā o lunga. Ma wha malo at ho kau mai. Kau whanonga mo koe he whawhin. Na tuke mau whangawhe e ai eiko e merino. Ke mau nofo moia. I e taimi kotoa pe. O e mau mo ui. Mau kore katoa ngai. Leleini wa pakaraisko alo. Kako mau whang moi e meni.
Amen. Tau whakamaro loa te honga mo oni ki a whinau matakai ongo i ene whakakakato e tau polo kalama lotu o kamata aki e tau polo kalama ko ia i he whiawhini. Ko taimini te mau whakahoko atu lātu Emeline, lātu Faaumu New Day. Ko Emeline, o ku co-host ia ai polo kalama ko ni every week. Pea whakamalo at pe, Emeline kātaki ko mauhamumu pe, kai tau hoko atu ke tau polo kalama ko ia he anika te tau koreangi ke sela ke ne maha tau ki fo i fasi. Ke tau taf malae a ki pepa tau toke hoko atu, Malo apito.
Hello.
Iyo.
I know that this love that I'm feeling deep inside, baby, I need you. You know I love you. Girl, I know that this is love that I'm feeling deep inside, baby, I love you.
Emeline, ka takwa more pe te mau kore atu ke ho mai rewa koe pea mohano introduction e ai tau guest of honor kai kumimo e whaifasi he ku whiala ke mau whakotutu koe e whastotoni ke whiawhini ka mau toke hoko atu Iyo.
Malo. Mo whanau lele mai pe.
Iyo, hawhawha apito.
Kaya, malo apita pe ko lawe at pe ko o si ilotoni e tau guest speaker e pe fini. Camelia Lino Saka. Koe ki short intro pe ia, ki mua ke to ki kena hanga to introduce mai. Ia ka te tau tolu ko Cameliana e whaile pe Tonga. Pena ia ko pe he koriskoe ko St. Andrews. Pea alamea ki Tonga High School. He primary ko e St. Andrews. Pea alamea ki he Tonga High School. Pea asko e de high school. Pea maua scholarship. O ne hoko ato ako i Norway. Aia ko e ako ko ni ka koe whawhetongi, exchange
exchange
student,
student.
Pia nai a koe ki he tawhakuen a health and social welfare. Pia osi koe ne ako koe ia, pia haukata o intern ki Geneva, i he Red Cross. Pia mo Spanish, Red Cross, Pia whakulewa ki Tonga o ngā aue ki he waa koe ia ai close schoola, o hoko koe youth coordinator,
Koe ia.
Pia I Tonga, na e whedaula ke mhono hoa o whaanga, aia na ngā aue whaka bisko ai Tonga, ka Christopher.
Yes.
Pia me ai rewa na mari Tonga pe, pa te whoki mai ki Hawaii. Pia I Hawaii na ngā aue ai Camelia, I am loko papa, a lot of you maybe are listening today. O ngā aue ki Hawaiian Airline, pia tō tahe weekend e wholawat ki Tonga.
Koe ia.
Pia nai pehe I he time koe na e tāpuna I koe ai whai route koe ki Tonga koe e Hawaiian Air. Na e oanga e whainga maari I he ene kapteni ke ho mai ki he cockpit
Koe ia.
Pia koe whai mea maho inga ene o ko maho inga ia he whai I he mea koe ne o share mai e Camelia mo tautolu. Koe whai taimi koe ni ene hu koe ki he cockpit. Koe taimi ana ne os whapapau ia ki a te ia, tene lava whai ai mea koe ni.
Aue koe ni.
Ia I koe paila, ke hoko koe paila te. And that's amazing. Pea ne whahako lewa kono hoa, pea na e pōpō le lei ki aha no hoa, koe mea maho inga ta haia ka tautoa ka kai whiwhine, ke pōpō le lei ho tau hoa ka tautoa. Pea ko Camelia au koe ne ngota mahi whine toko ua, au na toi mui mui pe I he footstep koe na o kuiai, o na te aluloa pe I he paila te. Pea ko whawheta I pa whawhiawhia koe tuunga o kuiai, aia koe tau ene taha ua ne ngāwe ki Hawaiian Airline, Pea au kone hoko koe flight engineer ki he MD-11, Pea first officer ki he B-767, Pea moi kapteni ki he B-717, aia o whepuna aki whakaloto whanua I Hawaii, I he Inter Islands, Pea tau welcome ke maupolo kalama pe whamalo atu, ko o tari a ki whaafena e whai atu, Koe ki intro pe ia ki a koe, ko ulawe I pete ke toe ki hoko atu pe, e tau whepotala noa aki, pa whemau ke nau e whanau mai kakai ki o, we're gonna get to know you more, I he ki polo kalama koe ni, ka ko whamalo lahi at ka koe, Camelia ho I know I call you Papa all the time, but
Yeah.
you know, ka ko whawhiwhia mo whamalo pe ko o lava mai ke tau kau he pewhini, pa koe ki short intro pe ia, Brenda, yeah, ta kese pewhini, and I will give it back to you, Brenda, pa koe hai mea ke
Okay. Papa.
Ki mo ke tā mai ta whai whasi,
Ia. Papa, malo mo si o lava mai.
Malo au pito Brenda in latu. Malo kafi nau he tokon lele.
Wonderful. Yes. Yes. Ko ku whamalo atu pepe. Ai tau ki hiwa no welcome koe ko tahi ni whai ngata a koe. You know, Papa, I know you by Papa Hamea. You know, and I'm getting gray here, and so you probably don't recognize me. Ka koe mea koe ne ko hoko, ko mau fie loto honga au pito I o kau mai ke porokalama. Ain pe o mai Emeline. Ka koe ai atu ki fohiwa, koe ki fohiwa tari pe o koe. Pea koe fohiwa pene kau ngā api o koe kau fofo angana nuku alofa. Koe hone matala koula, haha o lau ki ai, O koe e whiawhi niu mau e hone matala koula. And then we'll go on,
Malo.
Filipe, engalona ia, ole matalako, kohoto mamana, ete tori fili, kohoto mamana. Come kina ieku,
Go ahead, Papa.
Iyo,
Yeah.
malo lele ho ek mo kai nga ko kore ke hufanga be whakatapu ko oso no whai. Ha malo ka Brenda ba mo la tu he a whita o lalo kai hawa te whini motua koe ni he whahewahe o aho ni. Ka malo ka whinau he tokon whaofana e whai he whia whini. Ka koe a koe ta oene e wahiva e ku whakakaunga tahamaki he ngā hau ki Hawaiian ea. Nau lere mai pit ma ho mai ken mo kumari, na ma mari he ta o taha hiva noa. Na ma haure ki hene hiva taha. Ako ma tau mai koe ki hene, ka usa ia piki ngā oe ke Emeline ke aha taim ke te aloa ki Tonga nei ke mo uipe ngō mātua. Ai e whae he taim ko ia nei os mālolo i tangata eki. Ka mo whamiri fo ke maa e whi aloa ki. Nei, pia o apply lewa ke Hawaiian ea o se tuata lewa i he waka. Pa koe kamata koe se tuata, pa koe kamata e koe sa ia koe ai koe nei os wahe lātu. Koe nei whawhik mātou ke mahongi ki loto ki he cockpit pa koe toki koe mau ia koe ai e kusio koe ke roll e mau lele koe he runway. So koe sio koe ia koe pe, mahalo pe te ulava whai mea koe ni. Pa koe whok mai pe koe ia taranga hok mari, hawheta e nei kaua pito mari he whakaloto lahi. So pia kamata lewa e ku ako koe ke paila te pia flight instruct lewa o kamata i koe no tānaki o taimi. Hoko me flight instruction ki he ngāwe ki he Trans-Air. Ai koe no aluia ave maa pia moe u tohi ke u Neighbor Islands. Pe auspe koe apa mau hiki ki Michigan. Koe tānak taimi ai befo. O ala be taimi o au ke taimi ko koe nei whiema o ko he airlines. Pea whawhetai ne tānge a Hawaiian ea o haia le vau. Kamata lewa he flight engineer on the DC-10. Pea osi flight engineer on the DC-10. First officer on the 767. And I've been working ki Hawaiian ea he tau ene wahiva. But tau ene ua taha e ku pailate. Pea tau ene taha ua e ku kapteni i he fitu taha fitu. Ka tuka peka e whainga maari koe ni ka taha whiema ha whehu i ke tāri atu.
Yeah. Koe Latu, go ahead and I will take the next one. O kona Latu. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry ate nā ki ofe maika. Malo apita papa pe malo. Toi ki whatanton mai ngahi konga ko ia. Koe mea ko lawe i. Nā ke tupu pe i tonga, pa ke ako pe i tonga. Pa ke tuk whalao koe ki muri. Ok, pehe nai koe foundation ho successi nai kamata pe me i tonga. I he ako koe nā ke iai.
Ko tui aku ia koe aka koe tau mo ui. O ku kamata pe foundation ia me he aha urua ki. Kamata pe no whita mai tau to he tau whae. O ki ai lea te tapu pe he. Une ilo i ki tau tol i he manawa o e tau whae. So kamata pe hono wha ui o kita. Pea koe mea lele ke tau whakaloto lahi at ke ka tau tol whae. Koe mea lele e tau hiva ke tau whanau he taimu tau whita mai. Koe taimia koe ia ko o si whao pe kamata pe foundation ia me from day one. O awhio e whapehe e ki tau tol. Neo tau pehe e tau tol kai ke ika e awhio he o tua e tau tupu. Pea koe tau alu ai pe tau foundation alu ki he GPS fast moi awhi. Ia e kau whai a koe ko manatu i lelea siniva a hino. Ko ngalo nau hingo wha o si. Ko ia, ko lesieli ka whaliku. Ko kau whai a koe nei whai a koe hai apia ko whasi. Pea koe alu me ia me kau whai a koe ia ke kau whai a koe sa antelu. Ko manatu i lelea siaos ot maka hai wha. Ako i mato ke hiva whakapapalangi e himi. He time assembly. Koe foundation iau. Alu pia kamata me te ngō mātu a alu me iai. Alu ai ke whi tuko toa pe ko mea ko whai whakaloto lahi at ke whanau mo e tō tupu. O te tau sio lalo kia ki taimi koko e tau mo ui. Tau hanga o enjoy. Tau fia mo tau the moment is so precious. He koe taimi ko toa pe tau alu ai. Lahe taimi tau ke te kapa te hangeo ko me e sayang ea. The grass is always green on the other side. But we have to remember there's more water. That's why that grass is green. You have to water your own side so that you'll be greener than that side. Tau alu ko he mo'ui, taimi ko toa pe moment by moment, ko nahi seini o koe life. So foundation, it's all in the moments. Pea koe kamata me tau whae, koe taimi tau tupake ai, pea kuala be tono e tau whae mo tau tamai api, o pau ke tau respect. Aki e mea ko toa pe whalolongo tau tupa tau whanongo. Tau omwhiki mulini, pa tau pe, oh, I have to voice my thoughts. Yes, you can voice it in a very nice way, peaceful way. Ka koe taimi ulea tau tamai mo tau whae, pe ton pe kuala whanongo ki ta, pe kia e lau ia o tua pe, blessed are those who obey your mom and your father and your mother, and your days will be long on earth.
Right.
But the foundation, it goes in every moment. E ko lai, o ko fia ngai tai ni me ko find out e mea ko ia. Because lai time tau set goals pe tau tori ke taimi ko he. Ko tau mai puki heni, ka ke tau nof tau o enjoy for taimi bi. O tau nof pato ko pau ke ai mo. Tau mo ua pe, ka ke tau fia for taimi ko ia. Tau siot ke tau ki tama puke mai o kuku. Ko tau sat ko tau mari si tango tu hela ia he ko te au ke ngā we ko te taimi ko te tala noa ka taha engage kau he sio mo ke whanongo mo ke sio po kia ha whamea o si whaingata ia pa te ofa to pia ia te loto at maao pe ko paure o te lava tokoni pa te tokoni it's really good to have goals, but at the same time engage on the moment.
Wow.
Oh, you
Malo, Brenda?
Malo. Oko e papa, oko fia au pito o sharing point he kohi ngā he koe. O ngoni au pito i o tau mai tau toria mi tonga ki whonuani pia ngalo au pito e me alahia mea tau tolu. O ngā tau whinga ke tau catch up mo pit a whonuani pia mo it's a new culture whinga ke tau adapt mo ngai mea pehe pia ko tui mahalo o tonu ke iaia tau whainga transitional program ko tau hoa koe mi tonga o lava ke whaka ke introduce ka tau toro ngai mea fo o pehe pa lava lewa ke tau transition le ke ngahi mea ko ton ke tau mana tu i mau pe mo oni au pito lau au ia kono i ngahe koe ko mana tu i mau pe ngahi a konaki e ko mātu i he taimi lahi. Taimi o ko ongo iai o ko kai ke tari ulo tu pe ha ko whin ke whakatontonu. You know what I mean? Ka ko fia pito, you set your goals, you work, you accomplish your goals. Ka ko tui o very common pe ia tau toro ko si o mātou whinga i mulini. Ko ia pe ki Ed seni te ua nā tū mo.
Malo, Brenda. One la happy. Ko whatangai pe papa na ke yo humble beginning ho kamata hang ko lau ko na kamata pe a deliver ko ne ma pe newspaper. Pe ke lave ki encourage ai kakai te fine ko ki program fo kana mai ai mo Brenda ko tau mua ke o mai ai ngahi kakai te fine tonga ke nau ha o share and our success ke ngā ke lava ke ako me ai hataha me pe koe mega ko lava I ko ilo koe mea ko tō pe o te hausia na ke kia whaingata ai na ke come through ai te ke lava nei ke share koe hana ngahi challenge na ke go through I he taimi koe ni na ke ako kamata ako pailate ai mo ke ako koe ke taimi koe na ke hausia ai koe taimi mi koe hana ngahi challenge na ke go through during the time koe na ke ako ai ke pailate.
Malo apita latu. Koe, he kamata koe te ako excited for ko te ala tuk te fia pa. Pea, lele pe, but, okay, pe fo I taimi, e hua hataha oku. E kina ko Amerika e te, oku nau lea pena toha nau loto, he? Pako ia kakai ni instructors. Na nau pe mana to, ko alo ako paila te, he te ke lava, te, ke lau kaki hataha e te ni hae hataha a te tainimi. Paku, paku kokoe pa ke ngata pe ko fefine ko paku ko how me tonga he ko color so kana ke whanongo ko me ane taha ke tau wako me ai hange pe ko lau ka finau pau pe ke tau whalala tato ke eki he ko tātou kila kapara ke whalala o give up da he kamata because he ke ngata pe to ofiha ne ta ko kata ho mali ko to ofiha ne au ke Oklahoma ma pe private pilot Hawaii Now I live in Oklahoma for the rest of my ratings. So pero I go Oklahoma. Ya we ko tama tana okumatu aki just straightforward. Kapalang for guys straightforward. They don't care.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, kokoya hey, come make a thing. Oh, you're not gonna even be a pilot. But ko taimi ako ko taimi ko te ma wai whakanga. Taimi ke te o te ke sio ko ia pe ke te hanga o whanongo ke whanga. Whanongo ko loto. Ko taimi ako te hai ko whanongo ko loto. O pehena mo one tama ikai. So I'm gonna prove him wrong. So every single step they o mo te ho loto o te hanga te lava pe o kwa prove ato te lava pe o prove them wrong. So I went from one step to the other, trusting in God and working hard. But the albig the good because me I taha ka ba te fatonga I ko ia kakai ko nau si lava mea o ka ke uinga o te nau te potang nau tori a koe te nau toi tikang nau to no ia koe ke lo common goals ka kakai nau o nau alu ko o a ke nau mea ko nau ha set nau goals kono mo ni ka ke nau te give up ki nau do o nau alu pe taimi ko to pe ka ia hata le a ko mai o kange ko kwa halaku mai kwa ki foi fie ia ki afi o te mo uyang e na afi na to la yang because now I'm gonna prove you wrong and can be time o te o be kita oh no I don't think this is the way I should go o te lava be kita o si this path doesn't make sense I have to change path but ko time ko te ilo e kita ko me ia ko me e te lava. There's no step to it. He ko me pamo te taha pe lot to ke mo. Ni ko mana tin every time ta na ala 767. I training. La to fa ele ki tahine sisi ia kai mana. Bana e ni eku fa e pa mela. So na mau algo to pe ho te o mano fa hene si ke I was nursing kai mana. So alu o training during the day ya ko ai pe loto e Boeing ba ko fok mai pe ko ke hotere o si fa nga fa na o mo no fa e pe ko po ko to ha pe matu ulu tu me fa e o lotu mo tang matangi pe ko hinga ke fa hi via ai fononga he ne ongoi e te pe o te poto po te fa me ko to ko o tua pe te ne ha fra fu ai fononga and that was my very first jet. It was 767. I've never flown a jet before. But now lava, lele hit the training ko ia. Ma fetangi ha me fae ko ofa ki ai tai ni me ko si malolo. Pe ho ko te foi me ko ia. Pe ko time e ko me a farawali ta ha. Na hai au e au ai ko inga ko fi fineo. Pe ko minority. Foi me a ko e ua ko ia. That was a blessing in the beginning. It became a curse in this sense. DC-10. Ko foi se desi go spela I mai go he I he foi realm go ia. Who do you think you are? You don't belong here.
Oh no.
Who do you think you are? You do not belong here. He ko tai me ko mana tu I ko tai ko na haya ya ne te kia policia ya o ha fe fine e hu ke cockpit I American. Na palangi pe mo ka esia he tai mi go ya. But I thought African American I think American Airlines. Kana tigaya hata policia time go ya. So kat kana tolu ko kange ko ka pe ko how can you? Pe ko paure ke te toea ko kita mo te alu kita ka te foi level ta ha ke te lava proof kana to. E ko te lava pe ko proof ke kautama. Oh, you're one of the club, but you have to prove yourself.
Wow. Brenda, ke te whahaga teke tau ka whanawa, ka Camellia Lino Saka, ka fufua whiwhine tonga pailate. Kone au sia ai pailate, ka ko whiawhia hei whiawhin ke o mai koe ko ngā ko tui, wai pe whanki whanau a tau tolo, nau whia au ki tunga koe ni pailate, ka ko hoko ai whiawhini ko whalato lahi ka tek nau tolo, he ko la vei pe ko o whiwhine ula ki ko Maria, o ko pailate ke Republic Airlines. Pea koe whikaua kai mana o ku ne hoko atu pe i he ako pailate. Ka ko, kore pe Brenda, te ame tānaki mai ki ai?
O ko tari pia o ke os ene ngahi statement koin ke mea patok whehui he koe ngā o ko very emotional au pita o koe tangi pe koa papae o ko tangi he koe ngā it's a common feeling o tau mau a tau tolu koe ni second generation maybe i heni na i heni a Pamela pia na lotu toko I have the same too he e papa ka koe mea ko tari ke e toki aipe e toko ni atu i he osi o ngahi he ko fie ma o e paenga pe mo kakai tonga ke nau whanongo pe moako mo tau hangahi mea maho inga he ko o kai ka whanonga ko hala whanonga i nia o whaingo fua ke tau tolu mei tonga ke tau decide to be here pe ia tau goal is set pe tau achieving ai goals ke pe tau to sit back we're still working son kaya mo Emeline August retire but we're still working and you ask me why and I know ko ke ngawe pe papa pe ko ke fie ngawe pe but there is no time ke tau no for waste this is our that our average a third generation get our whanau and they will be learning ko me o mahu ingai ka o he kai ke toi tana ke tau because you're so well versed ho output ki tokon ko ni so I want my co-host ke la tu ke ne just just join in with you ka whanau at peau ka go very very happy I feel so blessed tonight he te kai ka tahaya pai late i he tau kau tonga leadership i man katoan and this is a very rare opportunity
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead Latu.
Papa na ke lave mai ki he pewhine mo e minority pe ko lave pe ko i tahaia o pauparema o ku go through he kakai pewhine pe na ke lave ki he mauinga ai lotu mo e whalala ki o tua and then mo mea kan ke te hange ko lave ki ai it's important to hang prove yourself ko te aina hao ko ngā ko hange ko lave ka nei ko younger generation ko hana hao tau peha popaki o ke whia awe ka te knau tolu whanki i generation koe ni ki lalo hi po koe ni a tau tatu whita ke whiwhine a hange ko tau tau ka whiwhine tonga o kai pe tau whanau koe hana ha o encouragement po ha o message ka nau tolu o nau whia hoko atu ke nau whia pailate ka peke nau wau sia tatu whita hange koe ni ko lawe pe koe a ko Pawete ke lava ke tafaaki pa finances ko mea ko ha ngahi mea lava ke nau go through ha ngahi resources te ke lava bahe mai ka nau to te lava ke nau encourage them ke nau hoko atu ki he pailate ka pa nau pia pailate.
Ko ia. O nā mono ia o pito a whangita mai ki koe i Amerikani.
Yeah.
O ki lahi au pito ai u organisation hen o nā hanga o ai u scholarship. Kauta te whituketa mai whewhine. O ki ai kautaha ko Women's International Women's Association. O kuia e nau scholarship he. O ki ai me te mea tako e aloha 99, ko mau i e Hawaii. Pa mo 99 pe i he mainland. o ku lahi au pito pe u scholarship o na lava o fa ko ilo le le ka kai palangi ko ma o ka toa na rating o ala ke commercial ka ke mori hana ben ta ko foi me be ta te ke lava prove ke mahino o ku ke ko kolia pa ko tau mu ai ko bai late pa ku tai me ta ko u scholarship na to lava pe ave o ka pa was ma private ai ko na firma o ke mahino ko tau mu ai ko alkia ki he pa private license o about $6,000 o te lava ko ke mawai te private license. Pero kia ki tahina i Hawaii ini, o kai ke tau lava hingoa na te ke o kore kia ke ure a kono hingoa. Kau kia ki tahina tonga hene o kuna born and raised in Hawaii. Mai si whetu taki mai ne tamai o mao o whiloak. Pau hao ma piki sa pate ko toha o sa lotu o matangutu hene o tala noa mo ako ke paila te papulo tonga puna he ni Hawaii. Papulahi apito ka tama he o fe mau ke honga o encourage. I found kita mai fe especially girls. Ke nau alu ke field, you know. Pa mo nau pa ko me apito tang ilo o te ke toka ko ka me ko foi ko tamu ate never ever give up. Pau ke alu ko ia he ngai whai ngata. Ka o te taime tā ko o se vi ia. Ko te tangut pe ko ia tanga si suke toko ni mai. And then the next day it becomes clear again. So encouragement ya aku ko ia kapau but and then plus if you kapau fie mau ha tokon te tu tak mai ka te au te ave kala tu ek fika pia mo Brenda ke mo fetu taki mai and pa go on Instagram ke mo fetu tak mai ki ai and I can help you out in the right direction.
Na pamalo la het apito papa ho pia loto to ke mai vai mai resources mai gai information o ke mau he ko tu to ko ni la hia ka ta panki pana o na fi al he ta pa ko pa monde apito ke ta pakaloto la hi ki na to ke na fo he ngai hala ko ya he ko tu e ya e pahinga ya a ho te na wa sia ta mo ta ta ko na ke come through. Brenda?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
My question, just because for some young people it's hard to follow their passion because they don't have the family support because they need the financial help now. So how do you explain to your family that what you envision and what your goals are is going to support them in the long run? And how do you navigate family support?
Okay, so family support, it comes from just like what you say. It involves a lot of explanation, and at the same time, back up the explanation with solid materials. So I'm so glad you asked that because in hence all the scholarships that you're getting from all the women's associations in America, there is the National Guard, which is another way that you can start from scratch. You don't even have to have any rating. So if you go into the National Guard, and so the National Guard, if you have a degree, that is an advantage because then now you can sit with your family because you're financially unable or your mom and dad don't make the money that will be able to support you in the path of aviation. What you can do is that, and that's a good thing that you ask. Maybe we should start up an association with Tongans that we can set up a sheet of paper, a sheet of paper, and we can put all the step by step and explain it so that we can give it to our parents. Everybody that wants to be a pilot can give it to their parents because if they would be willing, and if there are scholarships around that you can apply and you can get your degree. Once you get your degree, we can help you in writing up resumes. And I have a very good friend who's a major general here in Hawaii, and we can draft up resumes for you guys and write up recommendation letters so you can apply to the Air National Guard. And the Air National Guard, once they accept you, you will be trained from ground zero all the way to commercial for free.
Wow.
And when once you're there, you can go part-time and work for the airlines and work there. I have so many people at Hawaiian that are involved in the Air National Guard, and they all fly either the fighter jets, they fly the C-17, they fly the KC-135 that goes and refuel all the planes, and so many girls. And you know what? What I heard, girls are treated nice at the Air National Guard.
Thank you.
Papa, koe ku ki whehu ia tu pē ki ho hoko koe toko taha good influence ki o onga ta Mike Whewhine. O tāna ki pē ki he tokoni na e whakahoko atu koe e Sela. This is Sela, koe ku technician ke Maupolo Kalama. O ko whima upe ke ai mangi ki whakamatala ke kono uhinga koe Polo Kalama koe ni o ofa au pito hono lava ke tau expose ki tua pea moe kakai tonga ko whanongo mai. Koe mea iau whai kia whinga. Ka pārewa iai ha o whakaukau ke contribute ha whainga mea pe ke hoko ko foundation mai tō tupu. Oh, you're welcome to bring it in and bring it on, you know, and then have the youth get out spot on information straight from the, you know,
from the source.
From the source, yeah. Yeah.
Koe, you know, kangen koe whihu I gona toki o si, ko mea lele e tau whetala no aki, because lahe taimu tau mo ua pehe ngā we mo tokon pe, ko lahe pe whanga tokon pe aku ia very, very, very small circles. Taim ko whilo ake ma whangita mai now interest. Pea mau tala noa he, kau te kei ko ha. And then pau whamatala ngahi mea mo ngahi hala ke lava ke nau alu ai, But ko mea lele ka pau te kamata lewa ke uhanga aiha ke tokon ke pongo ki tamai tika te au pea mo vita ki tahine kone ko kamata puna. Ke I have a pamphlet ke uhinga ke tu aiha whamatala ke tamai tonga ko ia halan ko ke tau alu ai, Pea kind of like a direction for them to where to go. Ko tamai ki mo loi tai lahi ko Maria. Now, she went to college in Kenyon College in Northern Ohio. Now, she wanted to be in film. They graduated when a BA in film. They are talking about it ki hena tamai o fe bailate. So, ko mea lele ko mea ko share ko mea lele e ma ko e te BA, you know, in any field. It doesn't have to be aviation. E ko taimi taha mo manatu ma pe airline. It's a direct reflection of the economy. Because time beko sai ko economy be lele airline. Because ne osi pe tau furlough ka to down of ko to up time ma it. So pe ko whamatala ma pe ke ko tamai ki ko ori atu. E ko na wha am ke na aloha ta whetu ke he go. Ilo lele fok e au ai hala ko o aviation. Ikai. Fok mai beko Maria ta mai fi bailate. Pe tam ma tala no api ki ai pa hali ba. Lay out everything to her. Talang the good, the bad, and the ugly. Kenau ilo e mea kata tamai pe iok fi alpe. Ia malo o pita tokone o tua si o lava ene ngawe. Ngawe ke mokulele o sia alwaten ki New Jersey oku base ia. But and I can pake te kore ke wata mai ki kena tokon mai. Ko kai mana mea ko puna koko a Maria. Na afa alio mo Maria he time koko build up time ako Maria. O foi decide pe kai mana te ke o high school e fe albe mo ia bailate. Pe ma loi o fai o tua aluva ma o ne o lava ke huki and brittle. Pe to scholarship si ma on $80,000 scholarship from Embry-Riddle.
That's
and that was based all on her on here 4.2 GPA. Malo au pite o whaatu ai ka pana I kai ko ma whaatu ai Embry-Riddle o si tokoni mai le ilo I pe e ki tokoni mai le ke totongi ni ako pa ko he ko ngo walo ua na ke na qualify for any kind of scholarship. So only because they say, you know how in America they say that you make too much money, but thank goodness that Embry-Riddle doesn't look at what you make. They just look at your now see a big o ki ho marks ko he api ako. So o maoi ki scholarship a manao. And pe ko fie to go ga no na how he no to kon ka vika te whaka ori ate te whanau ke explain how mo o sko ia ka ko mea lele na lava ke na to koni pe he ko but going back to your question there Brenda ko mea lele I give you my words that we will sit down together kana o whao hangai pamphlet ke ta mai kakaitonga pa ko ilo taine ko offer no ingoa ko offer Faiva and I forgot her last name married name and involved youth programs in Texas so about get forward ki ai pamphlets be you know big so that the Tongans would know oh wow there's a path here a path there a path there all you have to do is apply yourself.
Oh, nice. Go ahead, Latu.
Brenda, time que ela foi fácil? Tá quatro?
Iyo. Ah, fofa.
Faaumu aki ai fefeo kau ie mau pele kaki Faaumu mahu ei falela Makafumai Au manue ki aki Motohea Eme e moe pani Eli toe no ala Hake tangitani
O mau ata whakamalo o loto honga mo oni ke te mo tol ko tō pēu ke mea mai o tau lava ke tau whetala no aki pia moe tō taha tonga ko ni ka koe whewhine mau inga au pito ia ki he ngahi ngā ue whakataki mua o ko lava ke tau vahe i he whiawhini pia tō he whoki ki he aneo ngā tamai ki whewhine pia moe ngahi koe ngā ue koe e whae o pick up wai pe e he whānau ia. Pia ngā tamai ki whewhine ko na to e hoko pe ki naua koe o ngō pailate to be it. Koe toko taha pailate e taimi and one is coming up to koe a Camellia e. Pia koe tau whia loto ho ngā papa o ko whia pia au he o koe toko taha tonga ko toa pe o ko aroa o ke he tu unga koe ni o e ngā ue whakataki mua. Ka mata aki pe e ne hampo beginning moi lotu, moi ngahi akonaki, moi puke e ngahi mo oni koe na mai he tamai moi whaei tonga. He? Ko pehe koe na ke toki mau e hawa pa mo hiki mai ki Hawaii i he hiwa taha. Ka ko, you know, I'm so in awe ko anga ia ko e ku leahe ko hinga ta koe o kuiai pe e tau whepiki taki i he whanua murini. Pea i kai pe ku tau ongo i ta e lata he taimini i tau ongo i so o kai ke tau hange pe ko lau e ngahi competition. O he kai ke tau compete tau tamai pe tau mo tau atamai lerei mo tau hufanga whakatapu. Pea mo e tau lotu lelei, pea mo e tau whakawhanong ke he mātua. Continue on, i ha whahinga setting pe i ha whanua. E mahau ka tau ki ka pasa ia. Ka ko lava ke ulea aki pe awe experience a competition ko a kaumuri. They want to know who are you to come here and try to be a pilot. I he industry o kakai male dominance. Eh? Ko mea pia ko fia tāna ki atu pe kono inga ko you give me such a very appreciative heart. He ko no hui ngā ko mea pe ke whakahoko o ko feel e on ki tamaiki without having to discuss it. Ko aria major hai me ake he hauia whitongi no hono atamai ki piloting. He kono uhi ngā mom is enjoying it. Pea koe ha ka pau ke ai ha o aego scholarship ia au. Pea ka pau ke ha o no au. Ia ko swipe out ia ho vahenga ia o as being a, you know, a female Tongan pilot internationally, you know. So koe ki tako ni at pe ia latu, whafokat ka koe.
Malo Brenda, pa malo papa. Ko ki whehui pe e taha ko ka pape te ke te kore pe ke whainga maari ke vai mai. Ko whawhawhai ai pito i mea koe pe mindset. Pena u ke lawe pe he konga koho o ki introduction ni. Ke mo minit koe na ke hua ke cockpit, you said to yourself, I can do this. O gai haku ki ni so ku create ni so tau wha. O ko tala mau pe ki ai, o na whananga o waha fo ele, I can do this. Pea kune o sila pe ia kone alkoe kene whae, o tamai mau pe ne whae tamai. Koe na o kone kamata pe ke leha kono sister, I can do this, o kune o sta ofia te ia. Ka koe ku whehu i. Koe ha ai mahu inga o mindset, my determination, pe mo set ko goals ki he mea koe o ku ke iai, ke ta whako o ke iai. Ho I kuna I koe ai, o ke hoko ai koe fufua whiwhine tonga, ke hoko koe pailate. Te karawe mai mo kia he ko lawe I pe, koe tau ki whanau, o ku taimini, whai pe mea, patu koe mea, ka whai atue, all over the place. Ka koe mahu inga koe o mindset, mahu inga determination, pa mo set koe tau muha, lawe mai mo kia.
Oh, mau apa tu lah tu. Koi mi alele te hanga ko mindset mo oni ho lao koi. Time ko when we were rolling down the runway. You know, I was sitting behind the first officer, but and the the irony is it was in Faaumu airport and it was the DC-8. So we were rolling down the runway and I was looking, I'm like, I can do this. But how go ki apini ko tala no mo mali eh. Pe ko me alele ka mindset can be discouraged sometimes. Ke tau mana tui mau pe, ko taim ko tau set tau mind ya. Don't think that you're gonna be expecting a smooth ride. He kia taim e tahak te, you're going, but taim I lai ko te anko ko awe ke commercial. Foi alo foi punai e taha ya. Oh my gosh, it was horrible. So, but fuck my good api, fuck my good ta mai ka Christopher, I didn't do well. Kamata tangi. Mo tangi boy. Oh my goodness, it wasn't a good day. My half halo to life at Chris was because the next day ko te oh, it's okay. The mindset is still there. So the consistency, perseverance is a beautiful thing. Ko te persevere kita ya. E kia taimi e taha man o te hoi kita ya. Man, te hoko. Kono mo oni I loi pe e au te hoko atu because I'm not going to throw all that money away in the ocean. I've already spent it. I gotta finish. But at the same time, I go, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? But, those thoughts will cross your mind, but you're still focusing. O te ke si o pe ko ke foi go my mind's go set go then I fai ko pau ke os ko pau pe ke os. He ko fini ko o tui ko foi. Ko te foi pe ko ne osi a te tui a kita. Never oa pe te foi. Te tu o ai pe neonga te tangi ma te pe oia oe. Pa ko foi ako nakia uraki pe ako ko kong tamai ki. And I'll go to flight school. But know that there would be days that you're gonna pull your hair off. Just know it and own it. And know that I'm telling you, just go home, cry it out. The next day will be a new day. But when I'm there, I go to mommy, it was a horrible day, but tomorrow will be a new day. So you just have to be consistent. And you have to be. I go tau lau whakatonga ka tau tolok tau ui. Ko e mate ka ta. Ko mi a mate ka ta. Ke mantui pi ke tau hanga mana tui. Ko o tua me ko na tau worship I tonga. It's the same God that we have here in the USA. It's not different. It's the same Jesus. So when we are here in the USA, just keep going, Ko ahoni te tau tangi ba, pika popongi tau mari, Ko peke te mate ngata kita. Ka pake te mate ngata. Ko ene lea mai piha taha pihe mai, you cannot fly? Oh, siya foi mea te pok ni kita peke te kato ofo. No, there is nothing like that. You have to remember, negativity, that is your fuel for the future. When people say negative things to you, just smile back. And in your heart, I will prove you wrong. So that's our fuel. And I think you guys, you Brenda and Latu, we've been here long enough to know that. That's why we get places, because we ignore all the negativities. We ignore it. I mean, we're like, okay, come here, bounce off. We don't even entertain it. There's no time for that. No. Our time is to here and then, and what am I going to do? My goal is this. I know I'm going to cry. I know there will be times that I want to give up, but I won't. You're going to have to get there.
Wow, that's amazing. Brenda?
Ko ki kore atu kia papa ke whamore o ki rea whatonga mai ange ke whanongo pe sayang o rea whatonga.
Koia.
Ke tala mai pe e papa pe ko ilo e au koe mauinga lahi apito i he whiawhini kono uhinga ko ngahi tānaki pe amo ngahi tokoni pe oku korepe ke vahe mai angi pe ko ke osi experience ha whaahinga negative approach me he whaahi koe ni ai kakai tangata e nau sio ko o viviri koe o a o to be an engineer pe hoko koe pilot kapiteni. Oh my gosh, you hangepe ko lau au mahino. Just leave it alone, just ignore. Ka pape ko iai ha empowerment ya koe te ke lava vahe ke lava ke tau whanongo ki ai whakatonga.
Koia. Malo pito Brenda, koe mo oni lahi, koe ok mo I loi, koe anga koe tau e tau whanonga koe I mahamani. Koe ka kai ko whakaanga, koe ka kai ia, o ka pau teke whatoa ngai, teke ke nau safa nā tolaha, teke nau au nā tolaha whaunga o whainga taa. He koe ka kai ko nau lava mea, koe ke nau whakaanga nau tolo, he koe nau I loi ai whainga taa, ai anga e tau whanonga ke tau wau ki a foi tu unga o tau whiema ke tau ta o ki ai. Pea koe koe whamatala koe ki a ngai whainga taa koe nau ke tau laki mo ia I he ako he ngāwe koe ke aviation. Koe lahi au pito ngai whainga taa ia, maha pe koe ki toko ua pe toko tolu. Ka koe toko ua pe ko tolu koe ni, kono mea pango, o kunau tolu o kunau mau ai tu unga maolunga I he training department. I he tawhaaki ko koe o eako I. Pea koe mea whainga taa, because he koe, ko pau ki te lava he te alu ko koe ka taingok hai ai ki ta he airline ni, ko pau ki te lava ai ako ko koe ki ha. He ko te alu pe mea wakapuna ki ha wakapuna, ko pau ki te ako. To eako ia ki wakapuna koe, o ke pe uako. Pea tēnā lawe nā tolia o whakatoa ki ta, he koe mea ea mau kata, ka pau nā whiema o ke tō, te ke tō koe. He koe he tēnā I ai pēnā whonga nā tō ke nawanga o awhi holo ai ke tō e toko taha koe ia. Pea koe, hanga ko koe te alu, koe teimi ko koe hau ai koe ngahi whainga taa pehe ki he te mo ui. Kia te au koe hanga ko koe ngā oe ki e au, na e lahi au pito, ko lahi ko ai ko ki Amerika, tapa pito koe ta whakape Amerika koe foi whalaua ke tama koko o whai ako, tāngia o kaki ke pehe te wala o whamatala ke pure lahi, he kaki sa ia ho whaunga ko whai mega te au. Ai ko Amerika ai. Lene whai mo aku ko whakak me tonga, ne ako I tātole ki ta whalongo, tape tau ngutu, mangai mea pehe. Ka kumo I loi, nā rai peke urea ha whai mea taha whalongo pe au. Ka ko osi I loi pe e au ia he taimi koko whai e ko whaunga, ko pau ke hanga o ngau eki, kau hanga pe o whamatala ia te. Ko ku fo I check ride e taha I he fitu ono fitu. Neu alki ai pea koe taimen ke punai kapteni, taimen na o ke first officer ia. Pea koe taimen e kapteni ke puna. Pea koe ne kamata koe advance ai koe aloe pawa ki olunga ke mapuna. Pea koe aliwa ko hanga whai koe mea kui koe call outs. Pea koe na kukui koe call out o kia mea koe V1, rotate. Pea koe V1 koe speed ia pe koe vave ia o whakapuna kia foi taimi te lava ke te hanga o ta ofi ai puna whakapuna o ka pau kia hawhainga ta o koe. Pea ospe koe V1, koe rotate, koe mahino koe taimi o ke puna e waka. Pea koe pea tau rotate, o kai peke ngāwe waka e ke puna. Koe te pea rotate, sia take te whakataha o mate kaptenia, play dead. Koe ka common procedure e ni. Ai ko inga common procedure e le whakatonga, o kui kaka whaunga to tonu e ni. So, ko wala lewa ke mea o puna e waka, Ko puna ko ia, ko paure ke hanga declare an emergency. Kono uhinga declare an emergency, ko pau ke lea rewe ke control up ko tō tāko neanga o pule I airspace ko ia. Ko au te whoki mai o tō e whakapuna he uki ai whengata a whoko. Ko puna ko ia whatakai hake pe ko ia tō hake ki. Whai ko tō ai mea ko tō hau ko mate tō taha e paila te taha. Takai mai pe ko ia tō. Ko tō ko ia pala mai rewa e instructor hok ta whaki huma o pehe mai ka te au. Camelia, te ulea whakapalangi te ospa whakatong. Camelia, hold your head high. Did you know that I was told by the training department to come in and flunk you? So, I lea whakatonga. Nā ke ilo i koe na tala mai he kautaha ko training department. Ke uhau ki he ni o whakatoa ki koe. Ka ko tātka koe ke hiki ho mā ke o lunga hai koe lele o pito paila te ufoka ki nā tolo talangi nei ke lava. Nā whai e mea kotoa ke tō ka ku ke lava. Koe whengata, koe ngai whengata ai o koe ke whai ka taha o noa ia pe. Ai koe mahina rewe ka te au nei ke nā loto ke lava. Ka koe anga koe e tau lisi o koe ke o tua o ke whuka a lea te tako pe. Do everything without grumbling or arguing. For at the proper time, you will reap a harvest from the Lord God Almighty. So, and you will shine like the stars of the sky. And, at that time ago, nakakiu maulot, kakiu pakaukawa ke vesko ya. Kako time ko na ula vesko ya ko pe, ko blessing ena eki, nakakiu tau ngutu na kakiu alo o whaialea ke ka kaupure o talagana o toi me koko. Nei whai pe whatongia ke hoko atu ai ako. Koe me e taha ko whakalato lai at ke tau ke whanau kotoa. O ke taime taha i o neongo pe tau lea. Pag sa Amerikante te lava lea, Ka koe whahinga o hake ko o kuna keke o hake pe he. Ka koe me e taha ko hanga pe tala ke konga o tamaiki. Mana tui, koe ka tonga mo, ai ne ke hokai kam konga Amerika, yang ta. Mana tui, o koe ka tonga mo hange ko au, ka pau ke ha whai ta whaingata pe, lea mungutu.
Yeah, very true, Apito.
Koe ke wila po koe ako naglele ia pe ika kukunga, lea mungutu pa lea ki pe ai Emeline no. Ka o te mo whangalongo hange ko mami. Ko mami nei hau ia me tonga nei ako, ma tol ke mo whangalongo, pa tape tau ngutu mangania ko ia.
Papa, ko kore at peke family more. Ko 7:30 we're having our next guest, hey? Ko ya ko kore atu esaipe because tok fate ta ho ko pong mo Emeline ka ko en. Te matoi fiema pe ko I he vave taha mai pe ka ke loto fiemari e pe ke kau mai. He kone ngā pe whoko e taimi o ku api I he whiawhini o kia toa tau ku mai I he hawhi e walu. Aloha at ka koe o whalahi. Pea e kore anka sela kene o mai e tau whasi ka ki muia e kore anka Emeline kene o mai e tau last wedding. Mo e whakamalo o whaatu ki a fofo ngasi o mea mai ke tau kau whakatahe whiawhini.
Whamalo lahi au pito atu ka koe papa. Pea malo tari ai I whaafi nei whai atu. Pa koe e whewhine o ke mai au pito e ukoloa lahi ke maki programa. Pea kangeke lau koe a Brenda. Oa pēna ke keep your doors open for us. Ke hike time pe ua whetu take tuai. Pa ke, tari pe ai time koe ia. Ka kuma ka paupe ia o ki toi mami te ua ki mua ke 7:30 ka paupe ia o ki last message mai ki he whanki tau tupu pa mo e kau whanongo. I give you 2 minutes ke whaosi mai malo a pita pa ma o whalahi at ka koe.
Thank you so much, Malo. Opito Brenda mo latu. Just tui big he otua, ngau e malohi. e teke lava pe ko whai ngai mea katoa pe o kuke tima o ke au ki ai.
All right.
Thank you so much. Malo au pita
O
o whalahi atu.
O
Ia,
whātu.
malo.
Yeah.
Okay. Malo au pito ho mo ke mea mai ki he tau polo kalama ko ia I he whiawhini. Te tuko atu ai konga koe ni ke ala atu latu. Hoko mai koe mo o kes whikaua. Tau hoko atu ia I he taim koe ni. Sian.
I think she's taking a break.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she's on a break. You can introduce Angie.
Yeah, so aia koe e whiawhini. O ko kau mai mo ki tau toro a Angela Lynn Mose. Pea mo e tau polo kalama ko ia pea mo e National Tongan Women in Leadership. Pea ko uhinga pe tau o mai ai I he whiawhini, ko hono uhinga whoki koe ngahi tohi pe mo i fie mau ke kau mai he tau polokalama. Ka aku os mai teu teu ala atu ki ai, ka pau ku ke on mai he tau polokalama la atu. I'm ready.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, there we go.
Sorry, Ed.
Yeah.
Welcome, Angie.
Thank you.
welcome. Brenda, sorry, now you walk away, but go back. Can you just repeat?
Yeah. So you go ahead with your intro and all that.
Yes. Hold on, let me. Welcome, Angela. Back with Malo Homolele. We're back on the air again. Kautonga, kumo whanangomai, ko au Emeline la tu Faaumu, ko whao at me Piwala Washington. I haukat pene tau polo kalama, ko whambe ke mo takoni mai ke tau welcome Angela Thompson Mose. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
You did.
Kia ki mo toko kwa ke mo lawe I ka whiwhineni o Brenda Kongaika. Pea oku lolotonga, oku ne lolotonga pule I he general manager I he Best Western plus koini I rentoni. Pea ko hinga o mai he whiwhini, ko hinga koe pokalama, oku kai ngata pehe ne hoko koe pule ka koe award I koini oku amanaki koini ke fort kia teia, oku ne maa o he wikeni. Pea koe koe tahaini ha ngahi lava mea ko tawa usia e tonga. And I he tuunga koina oku iai lo tonga e tau go through he fuu whangata a koina COVID-19 o wawhi taha hiwa. Pea ko whamalo atu ki he lava mai he whiwhini Angela, and I thank you for taking the time to accept the invitation. Apologize Peggy for the invitation was a short notice. Ka koe ke loto ke mawhakaapi I koe, ko hinga ko e ho I hen he whiawhini o kumaho inga au pito ka te maua. But, you know, I know the award was given to you and your involvement with the community in Rentoni. I would like to give it back to you, if you can explain a little bit more for the people, and give a little introduction of yourself and what you do and what you do for the community.
So I'm Angela Mose. I've been on this show before with my amazing husband, so I've got some different sidekicks on the show this evening. I am currently the general manager at the Best Western Inn in Renton, Washington, and as a recipient or honoree of the 20 of 2020, what that was a collective of companies that sponsored honorees outside of those that were first responders during COVID. So, you know, there can't be enough thanks and gratefulness that we give to those that put themselves on the line during a pandemic, which is new to all of us. But the award was to go to those that went above and beyond that weren't within that realm of profession. And one of the recipients was a distillery owner who, instead of producing gallons of vodka, decided to turn his distillery into sanitizing product, and then he distributes sanitizer. There's several. The Canless restaurant in Seattle, one of the part owners was also a recipient. So I too was a recipient. I was nominated by a few folks that had worked with me in the past. And, you know, when I think about a lot of, it's funny, when I posted it on social media, so many people responded. And I remember thinking, I told my husband, you know, they want me to write a profile about myself. And I hate writing profiles about myself. don't feel amazing trying to brag about myself, and it's not something that we're not comfortable. We're not comfortable saying, oh gosh, look at what we did. Or maybe that's just me. Maybe there are people that are comfortable doing that, and I'm just a little different in that aspect. But I was telling them about the several hundred companies and nonprofits that would be even more, it would be an honor for them to be nominated for the amount of work that they've done. One of the people that they told me that I worked closely with was Brandy Badger with INS, who distributes food among the community. She relentlessly goes out and sets up these semi-trucks of food from the farmers, because with the restaurants closing, there's not a lot of places to distribute this farm fresh food, and goes throughout the community, and her, along with other community leaders, finds locations to distribute this food. And I just one of many people that I was thinking should have been more deserving. And I named several when I was talking to my husband about it, and he was like, that right there, that's why you got the award, because you're constantly putting people in touch with other people in order to provide resources. I thought a lot about nonprofits that I'd worked with years previous, and then I realized that the importance of it being 2020 is again why I think they nominated me. I've been in hotels and tourism for almost 30 years. And I know you're asking yourself, would you start at like 10? No. But I've been
No, I was like, did you start at 20? Like,
that's right. Yeah. My host up to the side has jokes, but they're not that funny, so you don't have to laugh at home. But I was in hotels. I was trying to decide what to do right out of high school, and furthered my education in hotels and tourism. And it came about me. I think it's cheating for Polynesians that are in hotel and tourism, because we're naturally hospitable, so we don't have to try too hard. Mm-hmm. So we end up doing amazing in that profession. So, when I started in tourism, when I started in hospitality and tourism, it wasn't where I wanted to. It was where I wanted to stay, but I didn't want to lose my thought. We were talking about 20 of 2020. Anyway, I partnered with a lot of organizations over the years, but the ones that I partnered with in 2020 helped when my particular industry took a dive. And so hotels, a lot of my really good friends, people that have been in the industry for years, lost their jobs. It's funny because my property, many of you are familiar, many of you had events, many of you have had guest rooms booked at that hotel, but the Red Lion in Renton actually leased out their property to King County and had King County take over to house homeless, which while I was on maternity leave, they gave me a call and said, hey, your leave's going to be a little bit longer than you anticipated. I think where most people might have felt discouraged by that, to tell me that I was able to stay home with my kids for a few weeks and just hang, that was actually a little bit of a blessing in disguise, because I was able to bond with my little ones, and it was fantastic. But of course the bills have to be paid, and although I married for money, I married a man for money. When I checked his bank account, I realized it was too late. It was too late. I was already in love with him. It was too late. Then it was married for love. No, he's amazing. I love to tease him. I wish he was right here so I could tease him some more. But we ended up I needed to go back to work. Luckily, a position presented itself upon me. The new Best Western Plus in Renton, really quaint, beautiful little property. I spoke with, I have a regional director who's fantastic, and wonderful hotel owners. And in speaking with them, I was able to land the position, and I was already familiar with Renton. I actually had another job offer in Bellevue, and I was like, I'm just not Bellevue material. No, I didn't say that, but I was thinking it a little. I just didn't want to make the commute from home, but I'm a mile from work. I'm able to kind of check in on the kids when they're doing at homeschooling. So with that pandemic, with my hospitality, with the hospitality market, the challenge of transitioning a property that was struggling just like all the other properties, made it exciting for me. So I wanted to see a property that just put money into the hotel and turned it around completely. So it's funny, I actually reached out to my previous Red Lion owners who I have a really good relationship with, and I'm like, hey guys, I'm about to jump ship because I can't wait for you to decide if we're going to turn the hotel back into a hotel, or if we're going to keep assisting and leasing it out to King County. And they were like, all right, you get a few months and then you're back to us again. So, but I committed to this company, and slowly we started turning it around. We implemented some amazing COVID standards. We're pretty recognized lately as like the cleanest property. We have a lot of construction crews as construction's starting to pick up. We have managed to keep our hot breakfast buffet by having only one person serve it and people take it up to their room. I've partnered with almost anybody I can. I use the same marketing people. I use local businesses. And my very first month there, we hosted one of Brandy's semi-trucks, her Badger Farms along with Frogger Farms, and we distributed 1,000 boxes of food to the local community, all within just a short number of weeks. And it was a challenging week. I mean, you come into a property that's newly remodeled. I think I had about 6 or 8 back-to-back inspections, and I was like, oh man, this has got to be a joke, you know, but we ended up doing well, and we continue to do well. I'm trying to put together some creative Valentine packages just for people to get some, I don't know, staycation weekends in, and just partner with some of our balloon vendors or my favorite cake and sweet vendors or dinner vendors. And a lot of them I work with that have been in our community for a long time. So Pacific Islanders that are, you know, trying their hand at like sweets or different like signs or balloon bouquets with a couple of friends that I market with frequently, like Creba Jack and photographers. So I think with those partnerships and saying, hey guys, I have a hotel. If you guys need rooms to stay in, if you could take pictures of my rooms, then I'll let you use my little small meeting room to set up shop. If you, bartering became very popular until we were able to get all of our marketing nailed down. So enjoy where I'm at, enjoy who I work for and who I work with. I will say the award is still pretty surprising because it was a nomination, but what I really, really like about it is that I'm in a grouping of individuals who I feel have done so much. And so I really am humbled and honored at the award.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, I know putting together resources is not an easy job. What are the challenges and how you overcome them? How you overcame them, those challenges?
You know, it's funny because that's a real special subject for me. My resources are utilized by relationships. And I think sometimes what we fail to do occasionally is remember that relationships are very, very important. I think that that's kind of what sets our hotel apart too. Our service scores are incredible. And it's because engaging with your customer, getting to know them by name, being hospitable, it doesn't exist as much anymore. And right now we live in a very, very uncertain world, and being kind takes less energy, but for some reason we're having a harder time doing it. My resources were established on this belief before 2020 hit. And so it's always been, what can I do to help you? What can I do to help you? I remember, you know, one of the things that, words of wisdom, you know, that my dad used to say, and this is just an example. It kind of helps transition to the question you asked about challenges. He said that if you do something, whether professionally or just in your community, if you don't do it with the intention of helping people, with, I'm trying to say it, without expectation of getting something in return, if you don't do it that way, you will not be successful. And what's so funny is there was this point where I was constantly giving advice on marketing and network marketing and fundraising, just out of the kindness of my heart, knowing that I wanted to see these organizations and these companies and these businesses grow. And as they grew, they became very, very fruitful. And I thought, gosh, that's wonderful. You know, the innocence in me was like, that's awesome. Then you talk to a few financially minded people, and the first thing they say is, oh, you should totally market yourself. You know, charge people $150 because look at how well they're doing. Look at how much money they made. That could have been your money. Why didn't you think about this first? And if they made money, why didn't you take a percentage? Didn't you help them build that? So, you know, you got the little devil and angel on every shoulder at any time. And I thought about it. I thought, okay, you know, maybe I will consult. You know, maybe I'll charge people $150 an hour to consult them, because within an hour I can help you manage your thoughts, organize your business, and help it go into a direction to make it fantastic. And it didn't pan out. You know, like it wasn't me. It's not something that was ever me. And when I realized that I would have to start marketing, I realized this is for financial gain. It's never going to work. Like I couldn't even do it. Like I couldn't even print a business card. But my network of resources comes from the relationships I've built from helping others. And so if I've helped you in your limo company, or I referred you as a plumber, or I sent you to a hotel and they took care of you, and you just happened to own a t-shirt company, and if I ordered 100 chocolate dipped strawberries from you for my corporate guests, whatever I used, and I felt that you had a good spirit and you were just really proud of the company you represented, I would use you again, not thinking that in turn they would want to do something for me, because I didn't give with the expectation of I'm going to call you in for a favor, not realizing that those favors added up. What I laugh about is when those favors come in, I end up, you know, I'll get a call from a friend of mine and they'll say, you know, hey, Ange, I want to take my wife out for a weekend. Do you have anybody that has a weekend stay? And I'll call a friend that says, anytime you need a weekend stay in San Francisco, call me. And I'll say, okay, it's not for me, but I have this guy who wants to take his wife. So I end up using my favors for other people. What's crazy is that it continues to build on those resources. You continue to stack all these people that would do anything for you because you helped them without hesitation and without expectation. And then in turn, I now have zillions of resources, but truly you ask any one of them, they're not resources, they're friends. They are associates that have in turn became people that I've worked with for 10 plus years and will continue to do so. When I have friends and family that start new businesses, I'll be the first one to pay full price and say, send me a sweatshirt for all 10 of my kids so that we can, you know, tell them all about family clothing, or tell them all about blessed and thankful sweatshirts, or tell them all about different sweatshirts. When these, you know, a funny thing about this award, I told my good friend who's a photographer, Kreba, I said, Kreba, I want a sweatshirt that has every company sweatshirt and t-shirt brand. I want the brand on my sweatshirt. I want every brand of clothing I've ever helped somebody push on my clothes. I want it going down my sweats. I just want a cool picture of me and all these companies. And she thought, gosh, Angie, what a cool idea, because that's what you do. You network, you bring your resources together, and then you push them out. And then she stopped and she said, I'm not going to do that. You know why? Because in 10 years, when your kids ask about this award, 20 of 2020, in 10 years or 20 years, when your legacy says, hey, Mom, I saw this article. Tell me a little bit more about this article. These companies may or may not still be there, but the photo I take of you has to be your legacy and just about you for once. That was so funny because I just never think about doing it for myself. So you didn't get a picture with a bunch of logos on my award honoree, but it would have been that way had she not kind of steered me in a different direction. But the long answer to a very short question, my resources come from existing relationships, and I will always work with people who have come through. If I have a service or a job, I had a very honest conversation just with my brother today. You know, he was bidding a job for me, and he's like, hey, you know, I don't know if I can do this job within this time frame, but if you do this and you do that, you still have to have a little bit of aggression in your negotiations. And I said, I'm at the point where I just need this job done. So I'm not going to bend or conform to what you need. You're still providing a service, and I'm paying the money. So if you can't do it, I regretfully love you, but cannot accept your proposal. And it's funny because he laughs. We're the same person. And he's like, that's totally okay. I love being busy. I'm like, and I love that you're busy. But I would only want you to bid out this job to give you the opportunity to make the money. But I would totally want you to turn me down if you have other options, because I'm not going to bend my timeline for you. So, you know, it's just being honest. I think honesty too has a lot to be that plays out when you're working with resources or people that you work with closely.
Yeah. My other question is, can you say that giving with no expectation is part of who you are as a Tongan?
I think so. I only hesitate because I think giving without expectation is who I am as a Tongan from my family. And there's a big difference. And I'm not saying that there aren't other Tongans that give without expectation or other cultures that give without expectation. But we all know when I'll give a very, very, very clear example, because I feel like examples are set by your actions. And, you know, it's something I preach to my kids all the time. Let your actions scream so loud that I don't hear your words, right? So I've watched my family for years, and many of you know I'm the granddaughter of Steveni Fonua. He is an amazing patriarch. I step in his footprints. I was raised with him, alongside him, beside him, for many years as the granddaughter of a very, very well-respected man in the community. I have a funny reference to that in a minute, but one of the things that made me kind of who I am, with all of us, we know that if somebody passes, our families will do our best, if they're close family, to deliver a hala, right? We gather our money, we gather our crafts, we gather our tapa, and anything that we can give. And my family, you know, my uncles still do this. They go over and beyond as much as they can give, because their speech during the hala, when we give to the family, is, please take these meager things, these earthly things that don't mean anything to us. Please take these things and please know that they'll never be able to replace the person you lost. Since every single hala and every single funeral that I've been a part of, the family then reciprocates with blankets and other goods, and please take all these blankets, take all this food. Thank you so much for coming, right? We end up giving back everything that we've gotten as the family who's suffered the loss of somebody. And every time that's happened, my grandpa said, no, I will not accept one thing you give back to me. You save these blankets for your daughters. You save this food for your family. You take this envelope of money. I don't even need it. You take everything. And so, yes, my giving without expectation comes from my Tongan side, specifically my Whanua family. And so, and it's been the same. I mean, and I say that because even my dad, he's Palangi, and he does the same thing. He gives without even thinking about it. And I think that has a huge impact on me. So, but I think I will speak to us as islanders. Again, we're very, very hospitable, and we're very giving people. I mean, how many of us as friends are like, oh my gosh, they totally took me in, fed me, clothed me, I'm part of their family. And we never expect anything from those friends and family, but I think that's just Polynesia as a whole. All of us do that. We bring people in, and we are, you know, we're close to them. But I think being raised under that umbrella of guidance from my own grandparents, from my own parents, I absolutely do believe that that did come from my grandfather and the legacy he wished to leave for me, from my dad and the legacy he wished to leave for me. And so that's my answer.
Yeah, that's so important. Brenda?
I'll give us a 3-minute musical number just for us to breathe and have a little
Yes.
cycling.
Could you play some Tupac, please?
It's like, Brenda, do we allow this?
No worries. Stella's already ready. Stella, line up our music.
The radio version.
That's right. That's
right, the clean version.
Kaingi hengi pea mafua aeka ake manatu kie esi o elenoa ki alo italau moe lolo ahala evalu kosi o toka kala whakatalu talu kosi o toka kala whakatalu Paukau takisi a o mamata Ki waikiki mosi ono matata Io apelo hapa koe taulanga matai tofe Ka whane fo ana ei fo moe hake Ka whane fo ana ei fo moe hake Ka kau I wama asi o kuloko Anau mana kusiete una loto Sisi atoka hoa Loka tapu se soloda Lau kau ana Ke lau I kuoga Lau kau ana Ke lau I kuoga Langi mai tama Kua kau Pea fata, tau pasi e kota I mi Te ki whaiva, pea fata mani mani Whine ka o a mata, ko si e me kai Whine ka o a mata, ko si e me kai Le mai malanga, no whai kau whoki O tari whekau mei whunga kari O toka kala o hoto salawani Lau kau ati I e no whumamani Lau kau ati I e no whumamani Langi mai tama, kua tau e langi Pila pea whaka, tau pasi e kota I mi Te ki whaiva, pea whaka mani mani Whine ka o a mata, ko si e me kai Whine ka o a mata, ko si e me kai Langi mai tama, kua tau e langi Pila pea whaka, tau pasi e kota I mi Te ki whaiva, pea whaka mani mani Whine ka o a mata, ko si e me kai Whine ka o a mata, ko si e me kai
whamalo atu whoki I o mo ke mea mai ke tau poro kalama ko ia I he whiawhini. Ai ko National Tongan Women in Leadership. Whataha whoki, tau whiawhia tau whataha mo Angela Mose I he whiawhini. Pea ko iai I he mo minitisi pe mehini e koreat ka moto ke mo siat e tau poro kalama pe whahokata ngai whihu I whakahanga tonu pe me studio ko ni Latu,
Owen?
I will follow you up on this one.
Sure. Angie, thank you for still with us. I have a question for you about family. I know you're married with 10 kids, and which is a normal thing for a Tongan family. But how do you juggle family and still able to have a successful career and receive such award? And the second part of the question, what advice you have for Tongan women who are discouraged to pursue a career due to have family and many kids?
Oh, that's a great question.
Don't even look at me for tell the truth, Angie.
You know, I have been so blessed. I have never had to worry about childcare. And, you know, having a large family is not necessarily positively looked upon. And just like anything else, you get a lot of not so positive feedback. And my only response whenever I hear that is, you know, we have some really, really negative, bad people in this world. So as I replenish the world with these amazing humans, you can thank me later. Having a lot of kids, it's funny. I was, the 10 kids it's our blended family. So I was married previous, and I had my 3 Wayman babies, which are Anthony, Big Tone, Julia, and Liana. And I thought I was done. And then, you know, my husband and I at the time, we went our separate ways. We still remain amazing friends, and we co-parent just like they're probably not even, we aren't even divorced because we co-parent that closely. You know, somebody's like, can I go to the mall? And I go, well, what'd your dad say? Well, he said no. Then I guess it's no. So we parent that way very, very closely. But, you know, I went through a couple of years of being single, and you kind of miss that companionship a little bit. Bumped into a elementary school friend that I knew since I was 8 or 9 years old, and he happened to be this just massive Jason Momoa looking Samoan, and I just couldn't pass that up. So it's funny because we had just started dating, and I had my grandma had gone into the hospital. She wasn't feeling well, and we went to go visit her, and I introduced my husband to my grandma, and I'm like, you know, Nia, this is my boyfriend. No, I'm good, Mom, thanks. She's like, Nia, you messed up my train of thought. Thank you. Anyway, so when she asked me that, she says, you know, the things that you guys do differently that we did in years past is that you guys date like it's recreation, right? When you should date and only date the people you intend to marry. So she kind of looks at my husband Washington, and she's like, so, and I mean, we literally just had our first date like last week. But you know, as we, you know, Washington was kind of like, he always jokes because he's like, I couldn't believe you were single. Like, you were single. I was not going to let that pass me by. You know? So he, you know, we had found out that my grandma was sick, and we knew she wasn't going to live long. And so in speaking about marriage, he was like, I'd really like to marry you. He did the proper proposal, and we went and spoke to our families. But he's like, I either need to propose and have the wedding before your grandma passes, because otherwise we're in a year of mourning for her, and I didn't want to go through that. He proposed in February. We married in May. Grandma passed in July after having her last ta'alunga for our wedding. And then he helped with everything, and it was a beautiful wedding. It was like the joining of South and Seattle. It was everybody. Samoans, Tongans, Crips, Bloods, it was everybody. Yeah. Can you get your co-host over here? No, it was super, super fun. We had a great time, but it was definitely an eye-opener. You know, we realized that, you know, sometimes we stay in relationships with people for a long time, and you have to ask yourself, oh gosh, you know, where's this going to lead? And sometimes marriage really isn't for everybody, but it was for us. And I remember when people used to ask me as a kid, how many kids are you going to have? You know, you had that block thing where I don't know, you guys probably don't know anything.
Cootie catcher.
Is that what that is?
It's a fortune teller.
A fortune teller. And we'd be like, 10 kids. I always wanted 10 kids. And my husband had a daughter from a previous relationship. So we had the 1, the 3, and then he and I, in our 10 years of being together, have had 6. So literally 5 kids in a row. And then a surprise, Masina Gabriella, born on my birthday, which will be a year next month. So juggling them, it's not hard to juggle. I think somehow we went really, really right in our parenting. Our kids are pretty responsible, very independent. I'm very honest with my teens. And so I don't have I'm not up against a lot of opposition. If you ask anyone that comes in contact with them, they're constantly bragged about. They're just very kind people. You know, they would always ask me, Mom, could we do to make you disappointed or just cut us off? And I tell them there's nothing you can do, because I wake up every morning grateful that you're breathing and that you are here. And so it's true. And I do that. But when it comes to winning these awards, you know, I combined work with my kids for years. During the summer, my kids would swim at the pool of the hotels I would work at. I traveled for Hilton for over 15 years and would take one of my kids with me on every trip. My parents were huge. My aunt Manu was I remember dropping her off. I remember dropping my son Anthony off, and you know they're only supposed to drink like mom's milk or formula, and I would pick him up and she's like, here, take your son, he loves mama lupulu. What? You mamaed his lupulu? You know, he's like 1 week old, you know. But just fantastic role models. And look at Anthony now. He's like 6'3", massive. So it must have been that lupulu she mama'd. But, you know, it was them. It was my grandparents at the time they were still living. It's my parents now. My husband's older sister, Sa, she helps with us. She really, really close to our kids. All of my brothers take my kids all the time. All of my cousins that are my brothers take my kids. With COVID, with us all being home, it's a little bit easier. Again, with the awards, totally unexpected. And so I think just doing what I've always done, those resources come. You ever, one of the things I always say to people that are going through a really, really hard time, especially if they're religious or they have a really strong faith, I always say, you know, you sit here and you ponder like, why me? Why this? How come it couldn't be this way? Oh, it's all my fault. And I say to them, do you or do you not have faith? Did you know that this was not planned for you? I mean, this path was set for you from the beginning. And so I think like that. I think that God has made it possible for me to be able to help our community, for us to network and grow, for me to be able to help all these people to network and grow by providing me a great backbone and resources so that my kids are taken care of no matter what I choose to do. And it's always been that way. I've never had to want for child care. And I'll be honest, the minute I wake up and I have a kid sitting there and he looks at me and he says, Mom, I really just need your day today, trust that I will call in and say, I'm sorry, my son really needs me today. And I've never had to hesitate with that. I've always been really honest. So, yeah, that's kind of how I juggled. How to Tongan women that are discouraged to continue a career. We live in a phenomenal time where you could continue your career at home, online, further your education, the resources that are there while you're at home with your kids. You know, my career doesn't allow for that, so I am up and out, and I do appreciate the adult time when I can get out and talk with grown-ups and work in the hotel industry. But trust me, if I was at home and I was trying to make things work, I know that I could sit in front of a laptop and it would provide me resources to, you know, take up a trade or learn a new gig during these times. I would completely take advantage of this isolation period. It's gloomy. We're at home all day. Go for a walk in the fresh air. But I also think that I would never discourage them because of their families. Don't use them as an excuse, but maybe partner using your family as ways to further what you want to do. You know, my girls are helping one of my good friends start a balloon blowing company. So, you know, it's she's doing it from home. She's booking it, and my girls come help her. Like, and then I think, I'll use my girls to file my paperwork at my own job. You know? So, and I do, but I think just making sure that, well, not for everybody, for me, not separating it entirely. This is only my work. This is only my kids. This is only my focus. It's all blended. It has to be blended.
I'm glad you said that you know, the isolation, people need to look at it as an opportunity to learn new skills, and seems like family support is one of your biggest strengths.
Yeah.
And you know, as us Tongans, you know, family are so close, you know, and I'm pretty sure that having this COVID is not something that we look at it negatively, but we look at it as a blessing, you know. So thank you. Brenda, did you have any question?
Yeah, you know, I attended a Pacific, what was the ho'omo mea koe community koe he
Polyfest?
Yeah, Polyfest. Hard for me to get it out of my mouth. At your Polyfest, you know, Latui, I have attended a lot of this event that you know, that work with the Polyfest, you know, the folk lives and all that. I've never seen so many people at the mall. This is at the mall in Auburn. The super mall was packed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was scared. A couple of women that I sat with, they said, I'm really scared because a lot of people is drinking and so much folks. And I just want to know how you do it, Ange. Because your mom was, I was scared too when they mentioned, because there were a couple of people kona everywhere, you know.
Yeah, we didn't use words like scared or, you know, we were like good times, happy times. No one was frightened. We were excited. But I know what you're saying, Mom. I started this really small Polyfest. Jesse Correa, a lot of you guys know him as DJ Loose Screws. He is one of my dream team members. So he's with Emerald Dynasty, and he and his wife are really, really progressive in the community. And he was, my hotel owners was like, this was at Red Lion. We need something to really get this hotel started. I mean, we got to put a flame under this hotel. You've got to turn it around. How long will it take you to turn this hotel around? I said, well, most new businesses, it takes about a year. You got 6 months. I was like, oh, okay. So I threw a Polyfest in their parking lot and had a stage. We had no fire permit. They called me later. I sweet talked them. We had all kinds of things going on. But Jesse booked a gig every half hour, called different local artists and dancers. Polynesians come out for their own. So every kid had 6 aunties and uncles, and every adult that was singing had 30 of their song followers. And we had every vendor was there was about 25 of their clients, and it ended up being close to 2,000 people in the Red Lion parking lot. So Christian, and this is a resource I'm going to throw out there. I'm really, really close with the general manager at the Outlet Collection in Auburn, and he really is seeking vendors to utilize his space in the super mall, especially the big sporting complex in the same area. So if you're a business that's up and coming and you're looking for space and you think that you want that, he's willing to partner with people. So I'm throwing that plug out there. You're welcome to message the radio station and I'll provide more information. But it's retail space in the Outlet Collection Mall. Auburn's very up and coming, so I have to put a plug out for Christian. But what I was going to say was Jesse called and he was working with a marketing gal named Laura. And Jesse's like, you got to meet Ange. You know, it's funny because when I sit down, they're like, who is she? And you can't quite explain me because I really don't have a position in any of it. It's just kind of like, I don't know, she's like the Mr. Wolf. You know, she comes in and just coordinates everything. So you got to meet Ange. Jesse's so funny. So we sit down and they're like, we want to have a Polynesian Fest. We've brought in a little around 300 to 500 people. It's been super meager. And me and Jesse are looking at each other like, oh, so you're going to provide the space and you're going to set up the stage and all we have to do is bring the party? And we walk away. He's like, Angie, you think we can do it? I was like, done. Okay, say less. We're on. So Jesse ends up starting with his crew to book. He starts booking artist after artist after artist, from church groups to community groups to major singers. Then we get our headliners in. We've got Finn. We've got Fia. Like we pulled in as many headliners as we could. And then of course I put them up in my hotel. We're wheeling and dealing and bartering, and we call every poly vendor we know. We had, Otai Kingdom. We had the Fijian restaurant. We had, I think it's Go Poke or Poke.
Yeah, Go Poke.
Yeah, we had Family Brand. We had, it was, I can't, there's so many vendors. If I missed you, I'm sorry, but they were amazing vendors who came fully stocked. I remember working with Michael Haloti Puloka, and I'm like, let's have a kava tent smack dab in the middle of this Polyfest. So when people walk by, we have our donation bowl. And if they want to drink kava, they can donate, walk away with a numb tongue. We make money because we were about to do another event with the Tongan artists. Little did we know that what's funny is we were partnering with Vailima, the beer. We were going to have a giant beer garden, and some things fell through where they were unable to come through. And the way my mom was wording it, you look around, you're like, holy cow, look at this crowd. We had stages in the mall and then the big stage outside the mall. And if you ever look at pictures, we exceeded 6,000 people. Their Polyfest went from 300 to 500 to 6,000 people. Even when I was on stage, I was like, hello, everyone. I couldn't believe the number of people. We had Lofa Tatupu came out, and he walks up to the stage. He says, Ange, don't tell anyone I'm here. I said, no problem. Then I tell the MC, Thomas, tell everybody Lofa Tatupu's here. And he's like, Lofa Tatupu. The whole crowd screams, and then we make him come. And he sits down and drinks kava. It was a fantastic, fantastic event. We got calls about it all up until, I think me and Jesse and Kariba sat down about May-ish. And we got the phone call that we couldn't use because of the social distancing, we would not be able to do Polyfest this year. But granted, it would have been massive had we had it in 2020. But don't think our plans did not cease. We talked about a drive-through Polyfest, and we weren't going to do the virtual Polyfest, but there's something about music and our soul and our people that brings everybody together. And it was absolutely amazing. And no point, the one thing people will know about me, I will be an absolute crazed mess during planning, calling people to confirm. One of my signature lines, I plan events like nobody's going to come through for me. And it's not saying anything bad. It just means the people that do come through make that event even more special. So I plan events always having a backup plan A, B, C through Z. And I think folks know that about me. We've had a pretty big following for a long time, but every vendor, and this is the thing that was the most successful about that entire event, it wasn't the music and it wasn't the artists. It was everybody having a good time, but it was that every single Pacific Island vendor that was at that event sold out of every single thing they had 2 hours before it ended. And you can't say that about a lot of events.
Wow, that's exciting.
So
I
think my mom was
apologize,
excited, not
Angie. I
afraid.
know part of this program, I need to get to know you more.
Yeah.
So, by looking at what the stuff that you share with me, it seems like you serve in the City of Renton LTAC committee. Can you explain the committee and what you do and how you can help
It's not technical.
with anyone in the area that looking to do business?
Oh,
So,
I would love to talk about this. Um,
yeah.
and I kind of want people to pay attention because I've talked to a lot of nonprofit groups about this in the past. You have to be a 501c3 nonprofit organization. LTAC means Lodging Tax Advisory. You're selected from a few people in every city to sit on a board that helps distribute funds. So if you've ever gone to your hotel and the hotel's like, you have $100 rate. And when you go to check in, they're like, okay, with tax, it comes to $150. And you're like, why is this tax so substantial? This is a tourism tax. It's a tax that most of our small cities actually have to pay. So Renton, I think Auburn, Tukwila, they pay this tax, and in turn, that tax goes back to Olympia. Well, when that tax goes back to Olympia, they turn around and give it back to the city. And the city's job is to distribute these tax dollars and help out these nonprofit organizations with holding events that brings tourism back to that city. And it's an application that you fill out before your event. And I'll give you an example. Say I am with the Voice of South Pacific and I'm nonprofit. And we want to have a 3-day conference with all of our media people from the Northwest to see how we could do, to project media better to our people. And so we're going to have speakers come out. We're going to have hotels. People are going to want to come to all these classes. So we're going to book 20 rooms a night for 3 nights. We know we're going to have this conference. We know it's going to cost us about $20,000. We would like $10,000 of assistance to have this event. We are a nonprofit. We are providing overnight guest rooms. We're utilizing those cities' resources, and we'd like to apply for that money. We take a look at the application, and I'm one of, ranges from like 6 to 10 board members who looks at those applications, determines if we want you to present to us, and then we determine how much of that $10,000 we'll give you. It could be, hey, some of our meetings are like they're new, we haven't heard of them, we don't know if they're going to bring in that many guest rooms, let's give them $8,000. And sometimes if they have event after event, we give them $10,000. One of the groups that I love that come and present is Sangam. It's the Indo-Fijian soccer organization. And every year I do my best to advocate for them because I'm like, they bring in tons of rooms. The soccer teams come from all over. And the first time for this Fijian organization, Seattle won. In like years, they won. But we provided funding to help them get the Renton field. What is it? The Renton stadium. They brought, because people were competing in the sport. Say we had like a Tongan Flag Day. All the people that came from Vancouver or Oregon, they provided guest rooms. So you're bringing guest rooms back into the city. And so that funding's there for these nonprofit organizations, and the application's pretty simple. But if you just pull up LTAC, Tukwila has a committee, Auburn has a committee, and Renton has a committee. But we usually we ask them to come and apply for the funds a year out. You'll know whether or not you're approved. And we want you to have the event anyway. You have to plan like those funds aren't going to be given to you because we don't want you planning your event with the intention of getting them. It's a reimbursement process. So you guys have to cover your costs, then you submit your receipts and we reimburse you that amount. But it's a wonderful resource. And I'm using $20,000 or $10,000 as a small amount. We've had a lot of groups ask for more. I've had an organization put together, hey, can you help support our community center? We'd like to build a community center. And people are going to come from all over to visit this community center. And they'll stay overnight and they'll have weddings there, and people will book wedding rooms and events, and we'll say, okay, you want this community center, how do you want us to fund? Oh, we want you guys to pay 50% of our lease every year. We would still look at that application because you're a nonprofit, you're bringing in rooms, you're providing us with a way to organize a group of people and have overnight guest rooms, but you definitely have to do your homework and have all of this stuff set in stone before you present it to us. So, and if there's anything that you have any questions about, I would print out the application off of any of these city websites and read through the qualifications. And if you have questions, you're welcome to give me a call.
My only other question on that one, my understanding, you have to have a 501c3.
Yeah.
So do you have any help with that for people who don't have a 501c3?
You know, sometimes you can use or partner with somebody. You know, what you could do is say, you know, we know a lot of 501c3s, but say you don't want to be a nonprofit, but you are partnering with your chamber. A chamber is a 501c3. Say there's a nonprofit that's doing youth outreach, and Voice of South Pacific, you guys together want to have a festival, a 3-day festival that's going to bring in 50 people a night. You partner, say, with that organization, and you guys as a collective present that. And I mean, you could always use an umbrella nonprofit and just partner with them in order to apply for these funds.
Thank you. Brenda?
I don't have any questions, but do you want music to go in? Is that okay?
Hi, hello, Tipuloka. Hi, Fehi. Love you guys. Hi, Sylvia.
Do you want to take any calls, Brenda? Anyone who have any question?
You know, we have the phone number for the radio is already posted on our page. So kapau ke si fe mau ke yaha fe hui fe kau ake mo hafahinga takoni hafahinga tapa pe o kumi takoni, you know, ko takoni hani ike site apito pe ka ku oku fafofa apito eta share information me hin me Seattle. E ko nga we utilize kakai ko to pe takoni ko ni. O kai kia ha tō taha tēne hanga puke pe sila I ha whainga mahari e tuku ki tu. I mean, ko ia ko whiwhia apita I hene tō taha koe ni ene lava o toko ni I ki tau tōru ka pa o ku iai ha ane pikinga o kui I heanga pe koe ni ene taranoa he whiawhini umahino mai o ku kau pe ia I he poate pe koe kau taha koe ni o nau whakahu atu e ngai fund ka mo donation ke ni ihi ko nau kore paanga mai he. Aia Emeline, o mahalo ka no application date, Angie?
No. It just varies. We've already issued and awarded our funding, and so each city varies. You have to take a look at that website. Again, it's lodging tax advisory dollars. You just look up the website and see every city has a different application process. We try to get the applications open up, and it's a very short window, sometimes right around October, and then we have you present, if you're awarded for the initial round, we have you present in November, and then we let you know if you're awarded the money by the end of November for the following year. So those applications will come out toward the end of the year, but this gives people a good time to start planning things that they want to have right now. Get all your ducks in a row, no last minute, throw together event. Think of something that you really want to put your mind to, and then something that will help bring overnight guest rooms back to the city. And I only advocate for Renton because I'm in Renton and would like to build up those small businesses that have suffered a little bit through COVID. But you could apply anywhere, and I'm not quite sure when their application process is, but ours usually we just awarded our funds, so it's going to be probably closer to September, October of this year, which is coming up pretty quick. I mean, it's already February next week.
Yeah.
Hi, Tilisi. Shout out from Angela. I was going to say, too, what my mom said. If you guys see the phone number on the live stream and you guys want to give a shout out, I know we've even got some of our nieces and nephews with these fun Valentine chocolates that they're putting out. Just message me and I'll try and give them a shout out right now. T-shirts, balloons, anything that you guys have. In the next 5 minutes that I'm still on the air, I'll make sure that I give you guys a shout out. But I do love and support anything that comes out from anybody that's trying to like actively pursue, you know, their talent or their work. I love seeing these little entrepreneurs, and I saw some of my little nephews putting up a detailing company to come clean cars. So now that they're not cleaning their uncle's cars for free, they're professionals, and now they want money. And these girls that have probably helped their mom for years put together sweet baskets are now selling their own sweet baskets. So I guess my biggest thing is if you see them on Facebook or social media, you know, don't call these Polynesians that are trying to get off their feet and ask them for a fat discount. Support them by paying the price that they're asking you to pay for the things that they are selling, because they are just like anybody else trying to start up their business. Support them fully. I will never discourage or speak poorly of a company, even a person that doesn't do a good job. I never think that there's ever any problems. I just feel like there's always opportunities. And the best thing I can do is, you know, it was a great box lunch. The meat was undercooked. Some people like their meat undercooked, you know, but you know, I'll also be honest. I probably, you know, if you wanted medium rare chicken, I'd probably refer you to them. And, you know, it just depends. You know, I'm being funny. There's really no place. All the places are great, but I will give very honest, constructive criticism, but never in a mean way. I'm just like, hey, I just know my clients would prefer it this way or that way, and if you want to build, you might want to try this instead of that. So I try to give advice when it's asked for, but it's asked for a lot, so I try to be as honest as possible.
I have a question. You know, last year we lost a youth from our community, and this time we have a very child of the community passed also, Sione. This is Popo's son, and his service is going to be Sunday evening. But how do you feel about young kids that are, you know, being brought up in good homes, but they can be swayed off on the sideline by some, you know, some influences? And, you know, people will be calling us here at the radio to discuss, you know, because they're sad and they want our opinions on things. And we don't give it, just like you said, until it's asked. So because they ask, I want just for us to see if we can, you know, discuss how we approach this. This is coming real close. Your age and time, we lost about a lot, huh? Your age group.
Well, this is what I laugh about, is that my mom refers to a 40-something-year-old man as our youth because they, you know, we've lost a lot of youth last year, and we lost a lot of youth this year. And you're referring to twin, Sione, right?
Sione is 40. He looks like he's 18 still.
Mom, I'm almost 50. Like we're old. There's no.
I'm young.
I don't think I refer to Tongan youth. Yeah, that's right. It's funny because I think in the Polynesian community, it doesn't matter how old you are, you're going to be referred to as the youth. But you know, every situation is different. We knew Sione since we were kids. I think a lot of us that have been born and raised in Seattle stayed really, really close. And so it's heart-wrenching, you know, and all of us, we take different paths, and there's no advice that you can give at any point in time to anyone except that, you know, even in religion, I never speak to my religious or political views at any point, not even in social media. And it's because everybody takes different paths and everybody believes differently. My personal opinion, and I think it goes for almost everybody, especially during a time like this, we love and we help as much as we can whenever we can. We be very, very wary of the last things we say or do for people. I remember my speech at my husband's dad's 80th birthday party. How blessed are we to have everyone here to say that they love him and what an impact he made on their lives at 80 years old, instead of standing at his grave and saying those words. So I guess my only advice is, no matter what the situation, there's nothing that we can change, again, about the paths in people's lives. Just make sure that you're loving just people, a genuine love of people. We forget sometimes. And I try to make sure that my heart is free of any misgivings or sadness. Again, my heart goes out to all of the families. I can't even, numerous family members that we've lost in, not just because of COVID, not just this year. You know, I've got friends and their wives at our age, in our 30s and 40s. I couldn't imagine not waking up next to the person I love. My heart aches for them. But I feel at peace if I know that the last words I said to them was, I love you, man. You call me if you need anything. I'll be here for you. So let that be. I would just say, let the small stuff slide. And there's no advice I can give to these families and to these parents. You can only guide so much. And the paths that people take, at a certain point, we're adults and we're not youth. And we have to be allowed to make those choices and deal with what comes with those choices that we make. And who am I to say whether it's a good or bad choice in anything we do? But I think that any death is heartbreaking. It's heart-wrenching. But my belief, here's my only religious view, is I believe I will see them at a different time, and so I'm okay missing them on, this earthly, it's so temporary to me. So, but, just so that I don't feel bad or sad, I like to make sure I let people know how much I love you. I love you guys. Whoever's watching, I love you.
Very true.
Stella, madame qui faut effacer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nelly.
Asia
atu ngena whamalo ka koe sela no o mai taunga I whasku a whofoko ia ke whiawhini lātu. O whakeu kai ke pling pling I mui hena he ke ilo te fuoloa ta tānau. It's you go ahead. He tau pe tami te ngofura, I will just give it to you.
Okay, so I think the bepe ko whatonga te kona te humai a papa, Camelia. Ko whamalo at pe enchi, whamalo lahi ate ka koe, ko ngā ko taimi, I know na ki time no pe, ka ke whamore more I maua, he ki give you a short notice, and I get, ka koe anga pe ia e ma whau programa, pe koe, thank you for allowing us to hear your story and also giving us resources so that people can come to you and any information that you give to us will help us. Ka koe kai kia ha mea te umau pe he ki ho mam ka koe whakamalo pe and I wanted to give you whakamalo la het ka koe I he whaktaimi ko ke whai mai ki proklama koe ni. Pea ko ia pe, pea ka pau pe o ko whatongai tu te huma Camelia ka pau gaha o whehui kia NG pe ko hatoe tānaki mai ke tau proklama. I will give you that time because we're still on the air and I'm pretty sure o ka pau gaha ki whehui mai ka NG and can you
go ahead,
say something, Papa?
Papa, come on and ask questions, fine. Is she on the...
She probably stepped away.
Oh, okay. Sai pe ka pai toki hu mai pe o we'll note that.
Yeah, ka koe, the only other thing, Angie, ka pau pe ia o last message ki he whanki. Ako lau koe mea, there are people like all ages, ko tau tō tonga nengo pe te tau whawhitu te kei lau pe koe ki I tamasi. If you can give us a message, what would be the message that you're going to give to us as women, as Tongan, and on how to, on anything that you want to share with us, I would like to give you that opportunity to share that with us.
Oh, there's a lot. I guess just maybe some takeaway pointers. If you really want to build a network of resources and you have offerings to give, whether through service or products, if you can partner, if you can barter, and always remember that if it's helping somebody, that you probably will be successful, and to give without expectation, and that's for the network side. For the mom side, always be honest with your kids. It's easier said than done, and even with my teens, especially, we talk. Right now, we talk about a lot of things that have gone on, and one of the things that has increased in our community and increased across a lot of communities with depression and staying home and that darkness and that dark cloud that subsides around our kids. I can't be the first parent to worry if my kids are thinking these thoughts. And I remember asking my kids, and I think that it's important that you as parents ask your kids too. But we think they're doing great, and we think, oh, they're all online schooling, these teenagers are doing amazing. And sometimes you just have to ask the question, do you ever feel like harming yourself? Or do you ever feel like you shouldn't be here? And I know that it's going to be, maybe I'll be critiqued for even saying this, but you have to ask them, because when you think things may be going absolutely fine, it's not. And I remember asking my kids one day, I think it was a few months ago, and I said, what makes you guys I mean, do you ever feel, and if you guys know my kids, they are the most happiest, kindest teenagers you've ever met. But I always felt, we were talking about somebody that had taken their life. And I said, do you guys ever feel like you're sad for no reason, or that, you're not happy? And, what we first want to say is, because I give you everything. You have everything. You have a phone. You have, we want to be real quick about, you had more than us. You shouldn't be sad about anything. But I think we do that because we don't want to hear the answer. And I remember my daughter saying, real quietly, there was a silence, which really, really shocked me. And they're like, Mom, I remember one of my daughters said, sometimes I feel like I'm a standing bush and all these trees are waving and moving around me, and I'm just stagnant in this spot and nobody sees me. And I remember getting choked up, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, not my kid, like my kid. And I said, well, instead of getting mad or being defensive, it's like, what can I do as a parent? I want you to know I love you. What can I do to help you become one of these trees? Just tell me how I can get you out of that spot. I just want to challenge parents that have kids right now that are, and I kids like 20 and under, that are thinking things are okay during this COVID period. Take the time to ask them, or take some personal time with them and ask them, are you really okay? How are you feeling? And then just zip it and listen. And I think that we sometimes forget to do that. That's going to be my challenge for parents out there of teenagers, and even the little ones too. And then as a working mom, there is nothing perfect. I don't read a book about how to handle my kids, because there are no kids like my kids. If you are loving your children, you're doing a great job. And just in life, just make sure that how you talk to somebody, or what you say, or grudges that you hold, that you're okay with that being the case if that's the last time you see them. That's it. And I love my community. And my husband on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Thanks a lot. And then Monday through Sunday.
Malo, Alpita, thank you so much, Angie. Brenda?
Ia, koe tawa o mai en ke ngatanga e tau prokarama ko ia i whiawhini. Aia koe wike ka hau o kuta i he locale. Ta locale wika hau
Rikau oku te ke ta confirm it's gonna be outside. I mean international, coming not local, eh? Ka koe aha taha fitu koe ambastoa koe ni a Tonga e he nia he proklama ko ia. Ka ki mua pe preta ke ko to ki fie lave at pe ki me ko na lave me ka NG. Ai fu ma inga ai o ko wa ko me ko ka ko lot pe ke ki fa hokot ke ka Tonga fa Tonga. Ai ma inga ke te whanau pe ku nau okay he. O ana te nofo pe o whakaukau o okay pe me kotoa he. Ai ko te koe whehu i pe ku mau inga ke te whakalongolongo pa te whanongo. O ku waka le son lahi me ai pa ku moone au pito he kwa tau taha o ku mau inga. Ka kita ka tau tolu koe ni ngai whae. Ke tonga ko tope mo whanongo mai. Ko ngahi lockdown ni koe mai umea koe na ko tui e ai pe affect e tau whanau ai. Ka time ni tau whemo ikina e ngai mea ke ka kai ke tau whatongai. Pek mau inga hange koe ne lawe ki ai. Ke tau whanongo ke tau whanau. Pe tau eke whehui. Mea malo a pita koe e pena to ki whakahongo te mea koe ai ki he tau whakau whanongo. Ke whakatonga, koe pe malo.
Koe minitsi pe heni pe tau tāpuni ki he tau polkalamu koe he whiawhini. Whamaloa ki motou kotoa pēna mō mea mai ki he tau polkalama. Whakamore pe kai ki te hataimi ki whakahokotai mō lau atu ai a ki motou mō himoa na mo stream mai ke polkalama pa mau fia apito kono uinga ko ngahi polkalama mau inga kono tawahi wahi ai pe ngahi ngawe lele ani ke he Ka koe tonga o ku whawha au pito e nau tokoni mai kia ki tau tolu. Koe polo kalama pe ke whetokoni e tonga, me toi ilolahi anka mea aunga kia kita. Koe end of the day, te take ha mea lelei, me polo kalama ko toa pe. Aia koe whiawhi a pongpongi, koe haukini mai, pe koe helping hands, pe koe whala i te rewa ia koe community, koe polo kalama ia community, ko toa pe e tonga i se toni. Pe koe hawhitu pe, I guess, koe hahingoa koe community
Pacific
outreach.
Flowers.
Oh, ko Whetongi
What?
ki
Not
Pacific Flowers.
Flowers.
So, aia koe whala i
What
te
is that?
ia. Ko iai malo mo mea mai, wa malolo tohonga piti ko mo mea mai. Mo mea, pe au peke mo mao hai whiawhi, whaafofa i he whiawhini. Malo au pito latu, malo au pito Sela,
Thank you, Sela.
Malo Angie, ho lava mai.
Malo
Thanks,
Angie,
Mom.
malo Camelia.
O
O
whapeke
whātu.
mo mao e aholele malo.
All right. Thank you,